Yeah, good evening, everyone, and welcome all of you. I'll
Good
request
evening,
you
ma'am.
to please put on your video. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So great to see colleagues from different parts of our country. Narendrajit and others who are there from the organizing team. Who have logged in till now. Can I just, we'll just start in some time. Let me just see. Before I start, if I like to know how many of you, whether you have attended our programs earlier, can you write yes or no in the chat so that we know our audience? Okay, so there are fine. Okay, so it's a mixed lot. Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, okay. I'll give you details. Fine. Thank you. Thank you. Just let me check the resource person also. Okay, so here we go. Good evening and namaskar to each and everyone. I welcome you on behalf of UGC Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center at SGTP Khalsa College, University of Delhi. And our center, prior to being called as UGC-MMTTC, is also known as GAD-TLC. Fine. So it's the same center continuing, but now we are uh, being funded for these programs by UGC and Ministry of Education. So it has become a UGC center now. And I welcome each one of you in this NEP Orientation and Sensitization Program. Starting from today, that is 16th April, it will go on till 26th April. The UGC Malviya Mission Teacher Training Center, as I told you, is a center of UGC and Ministry of Education. So first of all, my thanks to Ministry of Education and UGC for choosing us to implement this very important program, which is NEP Orientation and Sensitization Program. We seek blessings from Guru Angad Dev Ji because in his honor, we have kept the center of our name as Guru Angad Dev Teaching Learning Center, which is now being renamed as Guru Angad Dev MMTTC, also UGC-MMTTC. And the center is located at my own premier institution, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Khalsa College, a constituent college of University of Delhi. So I welcome you on behalf of my college, entire governing body, and the principal, and also on behalf of University of Delhi. This scheme is being renamed as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Program, entire capacity building effort. So I'll brief you about that before we start with the sessions. And at the national level, the scheme has been kept in the honor of Bharat Ratna Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji. So I welcome each one of you with a virtual bouquet of flower, and also to all the resource persons who will be joining from today onwards. Today we'll have Professor Bakshi and Professor Ved Prakash sir, and we'll have many national level experts who will be delivering the sessions. So I welcome all of you who have joined as participants, who are administrators, teachers, research scholars, and other participants from all over our lovely country, India. And let me also say thanks to the guidance that we are constantly getting and the support from the core team at GAD-MMTTC. We have former Chairman UGC, Professor Ved Prakash sir, who will be taking the second session today. Professor A.K. Bakshi, he is founder VC PDM University Bahadurgarh and former VC UPRTO Allahabad. And he again has been contributing at our centers from the more than last decade. Professor Jaswinder Singh, former principal SCTP Khalsa College. Now he has joined as Vice Chancellor of Eternal University in Himachal Pradesh. And these centers have flourished under his continuous support. And my colleague, Professor Surinder Kaur, now acting principal at SCTP Khalsa College, University of Delhi. So I welcome all of you on their behalf. I also welcome my organizing team who will be lending me support in the day-to-day part, because someone from the team has to be there along with the resource person. There are so many back-end things like report writing, forming multiple choice questions, and so on. So for that, we have Professor Sarita Pasi, who is a constant support in all the programs. Every month, 2 programs we are now having the mandate to conduct. And in this very particular batch, we also have Professor Babita Kola from Zakir Hussain Delhi College, Dr. Narendrajit Kaur from Kanya Mahavidyalaya Jalandhar, Dr. Minita Ojha from Agarwal PG College Jaipur, Dr. Bindu from Jain deemed to be University Kochi campus, and also Dr. Kanan. And I'm happy to share that there is a group participation from Jain deemed to be University Kochi campus. So I welcome all of them, and my special gratitude goes to the entire administrator and the coordinators who have brought this particular batch to us in this particular program. And I am your host, Vimal Rao. I am the program director at this center. And I am also happy to share that apart from being a chemistry person, I am also the member of the expert committee of all the 111. Now, actually, there are 116 centers, and the entire guideline we have formulated. I am the member of that UGC committee. So with these words, I welcome each one of you in this NEP sensitization and orientation program, and I will request that let us pray to the God for blessings to make it a very successful learning journey for all of us. Our center has state-of-art facilities in terms of providing training to the teachers, especially with a focus on the latest pedagogies and the technology that can be used in teaching, learning, and assessment. And apart from that, we also conduct programs for different subjects, research methodologies, and anything which is new coming, we actually either make our own programs or we also go into the collaborative events. We also had another center where we have developed the e-content and MOOCs for SWAYAM platform, and that is through the project of ePG Pathshala. When we started the efforts in 2013, we had our own studio and technical team. And I'm happy to share that more than 6 subjects, 89 courses, and each course having 4-quadrant module, 35 to 40 modules in each of these. And more than 50 MOOCs we have developed for the SWAYAM platform, out of which 42 MOOCs are for the ePG Pathshala project. We've also helped the technical conversion, that is the video recording and editing part for the MOOCs for various universities, including Jawaharlal Nehru University, Guru Nanak Dev University, Amritsar, Mizoram University, Jammu State University, Jammu Central University, and also Delhi Police Training School, to name a few. My own concept, Teachers E-Kit, is a option where in my session, I'll be telling you detail that how as a group of teachers, you can also contribute the e-content development. This is unique. This is not available anywhere, not even in the nation, nowhere in the world, that this teachers e-kit in a 4-quadrant approach you can prepare, and it will not only improve your classroom delivery, but this open educational resource can be also given to other teachers teaching the same subject. Since 2016, when we started the center, we were running face-to-face programs, going to also nook and corner of our beautiful country. But then since 1st April 2020, we shifted our activities to online, and we were also shifted to self-sustainable mode where there was no funding given to us. And I'm happy to share that in spite of that, because of the quality of program and the entire network of resource persons and the mentors that we have, that and all the participants who have bestowed trust on us in the terms of quality of programs that we are giving, that the number we have now crossed more than 94,000. This is the statistics I just compiled and gave it to the ministry on 31st March 2024. And more are yet to come, and every month we are conducting these 2 batches. Apart from this, we are conducting various collaborative events as well. We also have prepared the Arpit chemistry. My chemistry colleagues must be aware about this. And 42 subjects, there were Arpit courses launched in 2018, then 19 and 20. And our center was recognized in the top in terms of the quality of program as well as in terms of the enrollment, which have benefited so many teachers. So you see that our center is not just selected that, okay, it will be given to anywhere, but then it has gone through the hard work, because colleges having such center is a slight different scenario than a university having. Universities are given the centers throughout so that there's a national wider reach, but then colleges getting such center, I recall when we first wrote the proposal was sent that, okay, the colleges cannot be supported. It is only meant for premier institutions and university. But then looking at the ground level work at EPG Pathshala that we have done, we were given this opportunity, and I am happy to share that after this, the scheme was opened for other colleges as well. And many colleges were then given this particular scheme. But then now in this particular phase, not every center has been selected. Out of around 100 Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Teaching Scheme centers, only 45 centers have been selected, and they have been awarded Malviya Mission Center to conduct NEP trainings for 15 lakh higher education teachers. And let me also tell you why it is being done in such a massive and a sincere manner. It is for the implementation of the visionary document NEP 2020, where it is clearly mentioned that the teachers' training needs to be done in all the spheres. So Ministry of Education then sought strengthening of the synergy rather than having different types of center. The fact that there are two different types of main centers. One are the HRDCs, which were earlier called as academic staff colleges. Many of you must be aware, and your university must be having these centers. Apart from them, they were Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya Teacher Training Center, which were given the approval based on some unique concept. Like we had given that we will be training the teachers in e-learning and the pedagogy and these fronts. So all of these and the good performing centers of PMMT that they were collected, that keeping in view the optimal utilization of infrastructure, human and financial resources, and renaming and popularizing the entire capacity building effort as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Program. And so now you see both the UGC HRDCs as well as the PMMT centers, only those who are selected will be called as Malviya Mission Teacher Training Centers. And we have this scheme which is being launched in the visionary leadership of our Prime Minister Modi ji. And the new phase of the scheme aims to implement the recommendations of NEP, that is to improve the quality of teaching at all levels and in all domains. So wait, there will be subject specific programs also coming in the form of FDPs and refresher courses to focus on equity and inclusion in higher education and promote online and digital education, ensure equitable use of technology, promote Indian culture and Indian language, develop basic infrastructure facilities, create awareness about gender sensitization, include vocational education in the curriculum, develop leadership and management, create a pool of mentors and pedagogic experts, promote research and multidisciplinary education. So the vision is now to build competencies in the faculty for better teaching, learning, and research by exposing them to Indian values, updating knowledge, and aligning the teaching, learning, and research with the needs of the society and national education policy. So with this vision, the Union Minister for Education, Honorable Dharmendra Pradhan ji, introduced this program on 5th September 2023. And since then, the guidelines and all were being made. And now from April onwards, we already have conducted 8 batches. This is the 9th batch that we are having you. We already have 8 batches, and now from April onwards, all these centers are conducting 2 programs each. And my request to all my colleagues, please do not waste your time in writing your names. We will be checking your attendance. I'll tell you, you use your email ID to enroll in this Zoom, fine? Or you can rename yourself if you have done it from any other ID. Automatically, my team will be able to compile. So please do not write. We will use the chat for better interactions and if you have any thoughts coming. So our center goes into a different mode, how the techniques can be used, the technical platform, we fully use that. So please, Dr. Jaya, Chandrasekhar, Dr. Jayashree, I can see. So please don't write. This is not the way we will be taking the attendance. So I'll be sharing more information as we proceed further. So just listen, focus here. It's going to be enriching information and very some of you may be aware, but then for many it is a new information. So please try to understand how these entire training programs are being done. So now there are 111, rather I will correct it, there are 116 MMTTs, because just in the last meeting, 5 more centers have been added. And we have the mandate of conducting. First is this NEP orientation and sensitization. This is now very massive. Try to understand that all 15 lakh higher education teachers have to be given this idea what is NEP and how positively it can be implemented. Then and only then the change can happen. So this will be overview. And then you identify yourself that which is the area where I want to improve or know more. Then you can join the corresponding FDPs, and there will be so many FDPs conducted by various centers. Similarly, those who want the refresher course, a more elaborate version of 2 weeks, and maybe for the promotional requirement, they can attend those. In addition, we'll also be conducting a faculty induction program, which is compulsory for the new level inductee for the first level promotion. Without this, it cannot be done. And also we'll be having various workshop, conferences, seminars, individual basis as well as collaborative. This particular NEP orientation and sensitization program, it is clearly mentioned in the guidelines that it shall be considered equivalent to 1 week FDP or STP for regularization or the promotional requirement. So this is clearly mentioned that for regularization or CAS, whichever level you will require, this will be there. There are 10 modules. We started with 8 modules, but 9th and 10th module, our committee based on the inputs from different requirement. And so these are the 10 modules which will be covered here. You will find that some module will be having 2 sessions, some module will be having 1 session. So overall, there will be 16 sessions that is will be spanned through the 8 days. At this moment, I can see Professor Bakshi sir. Good evening, sir, and welcome. So I'm just giving them the information and some instructions.
Yes.
So thank you.
Good evening.
So these are the 10 modules, that is holistic and multidisciplinary education, Indian knowledge system and multilingualism, academic leadership, governance and management, higher education and society, research and development, skill development, student diversity and inclusive education, information and communication technology, autonomy to the institution and choice to the student, curriculum development, pedagogy and assessment. And yes, in order to complete, there will be 2 quizzes. So this is how we have divided the modules. That is module 1 to 4 along with module 9 will be in quiz 1, and module 5 to 8 and module 10 will be in the quiz 2. The important things, we will make a PDF and share it to you, the parts which I am explaining. And your quiz will be conducted only on one day, that is 28th April. If you miss it, you will be allowed only one time quiz in our next batch. So you'll be given the certificate of the next batch, because here within a week, we have to be submitting your data on the portal. So once we submit, no change can happen. And this is, please take it very, very seriously. Those who require that, yes, you want this certificate in 16th to 26th April, do complete it in 28th April. Otherwise, we'll be putting you in the next batch. So what are the program completion requirement? Let us all try to understand. This is very, very important for all of you. That, please, I repeat again, those maybe some of you have joined late. No need to write your name and your institution name in the chat. Chat is only meant for interacting if you are having any issue or something, or you want to give input to the resource person. Do not use it as attendance. I'm going to tell you how the attendance will be marked. Okay. So our center does not use that manual process. It becomes so tedious how to compare and so what we do is, please, for the attendance and participation, what parameters we'll be looking is, one thing is that you have to attend these sessions live. There is no recorded session. Yes, all those who have already attended our earlier program, in FDB, we still have that provision. But in this program, clearly it is mentioned by UGC that it has to be done live. And after 28th April, we have to upload all the certification. So we will not be giving you the flexible mode. It has to be done from 5 to 8 p.m. on the scheduled dates. No recording will be provided. So that means all your attendance will be based on the Zoom session. When you log in, use your email ID. And if you are not using that, rename yourself with your registered name. So at the back end of Zoom, we will be able to export all this information and will be able to mark your attendance. One more parameter that we'll be using is in between the session, randomly, we will be giving you feedbacks. Yes, for every session, feedback will be there. And in feedback, there will be 3 takeaways that you have to write. So please get ready with a paper and pen. Important, at least 3 pointers you have to put it in the feedback of that very particular session. So all that will be analyzed and you'll also be given marks out of 20. Apart from this, there will be 2 online quizzes. As I told you, they will be conducted on 28th April, which happens to be Sunday. Yes, it will be comfortable for all of you. Entire day we will keep open, but the moment you start, there will be timer and you have to do it in half an hour each. So there will be 40 questions in each of these quiz and there will be 40 marks for each. So total you now see there are 100 marks and the qualifying marks are 50. But please do not be in the impression कि मेरे यहाँ 40 आ जाएंगे और 20 भी आ जाएंगे. So let me not attempt this. No, don't do that. You have to attend all the sessions. Simply quiz will not help you move. And also you have to attend both the quizzes. So attempt both the quizzes. If you miss one, we will not be able to give you a completion certificate. And overall, the 50 marks are required. And let me make it clear, no grades will be mentioned on this program certificate because the template that will be used will be strictly followed as designed by the UGC. But it is clear as per the guidelines, and I'll be giving you a certificate in general that this very particular program can be used for the CAS as per the guidelines dated, whatever. Fine. So please fill up all the sessions of the feedback. So let me make it very clear. So day-wise, every day, actually, there will be session-wise feedbacks. So session-wise feedback will be there. So there will be 16 sessions. And you have to fill all these forms. And each of them will be having 3 takeaways. So don't leave it blank. That is very important. When we are putting marks, all this will be taken into consideration by my entire organizing team. And let me make it very clear that certificate of participation will be only given as per the template on successful completion. And no certificate will be provided if you are missing on some of these 3 parameters I've told you. And the decision of our center will be final in this regard. We have been empowered to do that. So this is the template of the certificate as given by UGC. So there will be this NEP 2020 orientation and sensitization program given, the logo of Ministry of Education, the UGC and Malviya Mission Teacher Training Program. No center logo will be there in this, fine. And this is how the nomenclature will be given. Obviously, the days will be modified as we are having in your program. And this is the Telegram link. So some of you who have joined for the very first time, this is a really happening place and we keep on conducting so many FDPs and refresher courses and so many programs. So join our Telegram link and also tell your colleagues to join because that's where very first information we share. And let me tell you now, because of the fully sponsored programs, the seats get filled up so soon that one FDP research methodology we have launched for March, right, 8:30 in the evening, I floated the poster and I just checked in the morning. There were 100 seats and there were 500 participants, and immediately I had to close the registration, and we'll be considering those in the further batches. And in this NEP batch also, let me take those who are must be seeing that some of the April A must have been shifted here, because in April A we had 350 registration. So some are adjusted in this particular batch and the remaining will be adjusted in the May A batch. So, but then once you fill, then we take care that yes, these colleagues have to be given first preference as we move into the further. So please be vigilant, especially for our free programs, because immediately the batches get filled, and till May end, all my these NEP batches are filled. Very soon I'll be releasing the June and July poster, which you can circulate to your fellow colleagues so that everyone can benefit. And why that is happening is because of the national level experts we are having, and meaningful interactions, and how implementation strategies also we are telling you around these particular themes. So with this, I welcome each of you once again on behalf of UGC Malware Mission Teacher Training Program at SCTP Khalsa College, University of Delhi, in this NEP orientation and sensitization program starting 16th April today. And I also welcome our first speaker, a very renowned personality, Professor A.K. Bakshi sir. And before I will like to introduce him to the August gathering. Maybe some of you are already aware, he doesn't need any introduction. But when we introduce the speakers, actually, you will also come to know that, yes, what are the further career paths, what all these experts have gone through. And maybe that also is a guiding light for youngsters like us. And before that, I'll also like to give you a disclaimer that from GAD-TLC point of view, we are not owning the copyright of any sessions speakers PPT. So please do not expect that we'll be giving you any PPT. It is their copyright. And you cannot use even the screenshot and all, or maybe record the lecture and then put it in the YouTube or area. Please do not do that, because that will be then stopping their own production in the digital area. So if you have to do, you have to write individually to the respective speaker, and you cannot use this because this is fully their copyright, which we all should be respecting and honoring. But for your own notes, you can keep on writing, and you can even take screenshot, but keep it for your own consumption for the completion of the quiz. Do not upload anywhere. That is the humble request, because we have encountered such cases. That's why we are telling you. So please do not do that. It is my responsibility to tell you. So the module on higher education and society, part 1, will be taken today by Professor A.K. Bakshi sir, and the part 2 will be taken by Professor Ved Prakash sir as the second speaker. Professor A.K. Bakshi sir is the founder Vice Chancellor of PDM University, Bahadurgarh, and former Vice Chancellor of UP Rajrishi Tandon Open University, Allahabad. He is also the former Executive Director of Tertiary Education Commission, Mauritius, a body equivalent to UGC in Mauritius. Professor Bakshi, apart from these positions, he has also been head of Department of Chemistry, Director of CPDHE, now UGC-MMTTC of Delhi University, Director of Institute of Lifelong Learning, almost it's like more than even a decade. In 2008, he became director, and I was with him when we started the journey of e-learning for Delhi University level. And later on, we were given the national level projects, which we had completed with the help of more than 2,000 academicians across the country. He has also been visiting professor at Guru Gobind Singh Indraprasth University in Delhi. Professor Bakshi has been the chairman of GAD-TLC and member of the Standing Committee of National Mission on Education through ICT. He was also the chairman of the Content Advisory Committee for Chemistry for Sakshat Portal. Let me tell you, those who are not aware, Sakshat Portal was the very first Government of India initiative for providing the digital content in school and higher education. A double gold medalist, record breaker, and recipient of several awards and academic honors, Professor Bakshi was felicitated 2 times for his outstanding contributions to education by former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Professor Bakshi is the author or co-author of nearly 200 research and education articles, one patent, many books, e-books, modules, and more, especially on EPG Pathshala, the PG chemistry courses, as well as ARPIT programs. As I mentioned, we had together designed, and that was the most successful program in across all the subjects. Professor Bakshi is one of the most sought after speakers in the country, having delivered more than 400. I think, sir, you should revise this number. 400 must be your yearly figure rather than the entire. So in the last 4 years, it must be crossing 1,000 now. Professor Bakshi has been a member of National Writing Team for Chemistry Class 11th and 12th books of NCERT. Professor Bakshi was elected as also President of the Section of Chemical Sciences for the Indian Science Congress Association. He has also been the member of various committees of national and international importance. And he was recently felicitated by the Union Minister Smriti Jubin Irani for his outstanding contribution as Chairman GAD-TLC in the professional development of teachers of the country. He is also one of the first persons in India to have been selected as member scientist research expedition to Antarctica. And this expedition built India's permanent base, Dakshin Gangotri in Antarctica. So I think this last one is really unique. We have not heard of, it is not very common that the academicians are then taken in this type of mission at the national level. So very warm welcome to you, sir. And we look forward to your really a motivating session, which will also give overview and the challenges and how we have to be taking this entire spirit of NEP 2020 further. So thank you. And once again, let me please put the reminder, do not write your names. This is of no use. We are not going to use your chat information. Chat will be only for interacting with the speaker and later on putting your question answer. So with these words, sir, welcome once again and over to you.
Thank you very much, Professor Vimal, for your very kind words of introduction. And good evening, one and all. I welcome you all to this very important NEP orientation and sensitization program being conducted by the UGC-MMTTC at SGTB Khalsa College, University of Delhi. And as I was just listening to what Professor Vimal was saying, she has told you about this program, the importance of this program. Don't attend this program just because it is a requirement. No, that should not be the aim of attending this program. You should attend this program as to learn new things and how you can improve your teaching, etc. Because that is what ultimately we aim at. And once you become better, naturally your students will also learn many things. Therefore, please attend this program in full seriousness. Try to learn everything. Ask questions, give your feedback. Everything is very, very important. And for these 8 days, where you will be having 16 sessions, different experts will be speaking on different aspects of higher education. And everybody has something new to offer. Try to look at that, try to make it a part of your profession, your career, your life, and then try to improve. And then, as it has been requested, please keep your videos on, as it is the requirement of the UGC. So I'm sure you will kindly do the needful. And once again, I extend my warm greetings to all of you. And I'm very sure that this program is going to be a great learning experience for each one of you. I'm very happy that I'm going to deliver the inaugural talk of this program, and it will be basically on higher education and society, where I shall be talking about the various challenges. So before I start my talk, let me share my screen. So you can see the title of my talk. In the light of NEP 2020, I am focusing on empowering teachers for challenges in higher education in India in the 21st century. So you can very well imagine that this talk is going to tell you all the challenges which you are going to face in the years to come, and try to make you ready for facing those challenges. And as it has been written here, challenges are nothing else but opportunities in disguise. So that is something which you have to keep it in your mind. And you know, this talk is going to be a motivational talk for each one of you, based on, aiming at empowering you so that you are successful and are able to thrive in the 21st century. And believe you me, this talk can prove to be a game changer for you. If you just follow it, it can change your life. Not only personal life, but also professional. So I'm very sure it is going to be very important for each one of you. And this talk is based on my conceptualization and experience. And as I have written, it will prepare you not only for success in profession, but also in life in general. The basic thinking behind the talk is, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. So this talk is to be viewed from that perspective. This talk will be in 3 parts. In the first part, I will just give you a very brief introduction. And the introduction will focus on the spirit behind National Education Policy 2020. See, we have NEP 2020, which is basically an education policy. In respect of education, please keep one thing in mind. Education is relevant and of quality only when it is able to serve the needs of the changing society. Otherwise, education loses its meaning if it is not serving the needs of the society. And in the 21st century, world is changing very, very fast. Therefore, education also will have to change with the changing times. And this change is mainly because of technological advancements which we are witnessing in the modern world. Now, NEP 2020 is proposing various reforms in education, school education, college education, which are suited to 21st century needs. So the reforms are aligned with the needs of the 21st century. And NEP 2020 actually, is a visionary document which expresses the aspirations of the nation with the aim to make India a global knowledge superpower. When I say global knowledge superpower, I mean superpower not only in terms of knowledge dissemination, which is teaching learning, but also in terms of knowledge creation, that is research. So this is one aim. Second aim is global study destination. Our higher educational institution should become so good that learners or students from all over the world flock to India for their higher studies. That is the other aim of NEP 2020. And NEP 2020 achieves all this by making education holistic, flexible, and multidisciplinary. Holistic means overall development. Flexibility is also one of the attractive features of NEP 2020. And then multidisciplinary. And this entire policy is based on 5 pillars. Please remember them. Access. We need to expand access to higher education. Then quality, enhancing the quality, imparting education with equity, affordability, and accountability. So these are the 5 pillars of NEP 2020. And when I say holistic, holistic means physical development, emotional development, mental, social, every aspect is covered. And when I say to impart education with equity, you have to be clear about the difference between the two. On the right side, we have equity. You can see we have to be fair. Social justice is to be done. Equality is on the left side. So NEP 2020 aims at equity in imparting education. And why I am focusing on empowering teachers? See, the quality of an education system can never exceed the quality of its teachers. So if you want to raise the quality of an education system, you must raise the competence level of the teachers. So this whole program is on enhancing or raising your competence. You become better teachers. So you have to view also from that perspective. And once you are empowered, you in turn will empower your students. So that's basically the thinking. Please remember that our greatest natural resource is the minds of our young children. India is one of the youngest nations of the world. 50% population less than 25 years. 65% less than 35 years. So it's a big demographic dividend, a big advantage India has. So we need to ready these children for future. And to a great extent, responsibility for this rests with you, the teachers. Please remember, students may be 25% of our population, but then they are 100% of our future. So we have to view from that point of view and give them the right education. This is our responsibility. They come to the schools, universities, or colleges for education. We have to deliver the quality education to them, because a child miseducated is a child lost. We cannot afford to lose even a single child. No talent of the country should go waste. So we will have to change the system. So that is basically the thinking. Having said that, now I'll just come very briefly to the traditional roles of a teacher in higher education. You're all in higher education, and you will agree that these are the major roles: to disseminate knowledge, that is teaching, learning, then create knowledge or guiding research, then academic administration and management. And one is expected to excel in all these three roles. Now, before I move further, let me share what I think is very important for each one of you. This is all based on my own experience. If you want to be an outstanding teacher or a researcher, the first requirement is you should have a very sound and deep knowledge in your discipline. Very proficient in practical skills. You should have the passion to become outstanding. You should have clarity of concepts in your subject. And your teaching should reflect the amount of thinking you have done on the subject. See, it's not very easy what I am saying. Once a person teaches, you come to know how much thinking he has done. So this is the first. And if you want to be an outstanding researcher, besides that, you also need to be an out-of-box thinker. You should have an analytical mind. You should be innovative and creative. Because this is the must, creativity. You come out with new ideas. And then 4 C's: curiosity, creativity, courage, and commitment. These are the requirements for an outstanding researcher. See, if we are not good teachers, or if we are not good researchers, these are some of the things in which we may be lacking. And then, both for an outstanding teacher and a researcher, you need to have excellent communication and presentation skills. Because every day you deliver a lecture. How you present your ideas. There is a communication in presentation and there is a presentation in communication. So, how logically you approach a question, how logically you approach a problem, that will be reflected in your teaching ability. Because no one will take the pains to listen to your ideas until and unless your communication is effective and impressive. Nobody will bother. And if you are not a very good speaker, suppose, everybody starts like that. You can always make efforts and improve. It is a skill. And you become better in skills with practice. And please remember, as it's a very famous quote, all the great speakers were bad speakers at first. But then they worked hard and became and reached to the top. So you should first realize that you lack in this and then make efforts in improving that. Self-realization is the beginning. So this was a brief introduction about main things. Now I come to part B, where I am going to talk about the challenges in the 21st century in the context of higher education. See, we are living in an information age where any information you can just get by a click of a mouse. But then this information or digital age presents you with many challenges. First is that this is the age of uncertainty with respect to jobs. This is an age where you are not sure where your students will be employed tomorrow. Those jobs may not be even existing now. This is what the Future of the Jobs report published by World Economic Forum says. So we don't know where our students will be employed. So this is one uncertainty of the information age. Then this is an age of mass education. All universities, all colleges are trying to increase the gross enrollment ratio. This is an age where more students over the next 30 years will graduate than since the beginning of the recorded history. So what does it mean? Many more and more students will be coming out of universities and colleges. But traditional jobs are going to become less. They are already very less. So it will create a tough competition. Few traditional jobs, but many takers. So that is another challenge of this modern age. And third is, this is an age of artificial intelligence. This is an age where artificial intelligence will equal the intelligence of the students by the time they finish their formal education. So now the question is, if I can have machines with the same intelligence as you, then why do I need you? So that's going to be another challenge. And now it's very well said that all these jobs are going to be in danger. Those which are repetitive or predictable nature, which require no critical thinking, no critical analysis, no research base, no specialization. All these jobs are going to be in danger due to artificial intelligence or automation or robotics. Look at the picture. Along with humans, robots are also working, and that is what is going to happen in future. And one thing which I would like to tell you, these days people talk a threat to teaching profession. If our teaching profession is just of a repetitive or predictable nature, there may be a threat to our profession also. And further, it is said, this is the picture of the brain. Left brain functions. Humans may not be required for the so-called left brain functions in future. What are the left brain functions? Logic, languages, numbers, analytical thinking. Because anything that can be measured by numbers can be solved by AI models. So, in the years to come, in the times to come, we need to focus more on right brain functions, creativity, emotional intelligence, imagination, critical thinking. So this is a very, very important thing. What jobs are already going to be taken over by artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is transforming the world. And this was a report only 3 days back. Elon Musk, who is the CEO of Tesla and co-founder of OpenAI, he said, this is a big statement. AI system, artificial intelligence systems will be smarter than the smartest human, probably by next year, by 2026. Just see. So they are going to outsmart even human beings. You can imagine where the world is heading to. In such circumstances, the challenge before a teacher is going to be now. You are a teacher. The challenge is going to be how to teach, what to teach to our children so that they are successful in a future which is so uncertain. So this is a very, very big challenge. This is the challenge number 1, which I have told you. The second challenge is sustainable development goals. What is sustainable development goals? Let's try to understand. Sustainable development is the burning issue in the world at present. All countries in the world are talking about sustainable development. Why there is a concern for sustainable development? Before understanding that, let us understand what is sustainable development. Sustainable means which can be maintained for a long period of time. We have to take care of future generations. And development is always economic development. So we have to progress without compromising the interest of the future generations. And why there is a concern for sustainable development all over the world? Because population is exploding. Just look at this. Currently, population of the world is about 8 billion. By 2050, it will be 9.7 billion. So much population, so much pressure on all resources. Then fast depletion of resources. including food, minerals, and other natural resources. Then there is going to be a problem of water scarcity. By 2025, 1.8 billion people will face acute water scarcity. Then problem of environmental degradation. We are all concerned about that. Then climate change, rising sea level, increase in atmospheric temperature. These are all the issues of concern for sustainable development. And who will address them? Education needs to address them for creating a sustainable future. That is the reason why United Nations in 2015 gave 17 sustainable development goals for achieving them by 2030. That is called United Nations Agenda 2030. These are the 17 goals. Look at them. No poverty, zero hunger, good health, quality education, gender equality, etc. And 193 countries, including India, are signatory to this United Nations Agenda Agreement. And this agreement did not give any roadmap how to get those things solved, because world is full of diversity. Nature of the problem varies from region to region. You cannot give a solution which is uniformly applicable all over the world. So, if you look at these 17 sustainable development goals, they actually represent the real world problems. And in order to solve them, you need to require the knowledge of several different disciplines for their solution. For example, climate change. If you want to solve the problem of climate change, you need the knowledge of climatology, political science, economics, green technology, sociology, etc. So here comes the concept of multidisciplinary. So you can very well imagine that how the things are changing. So multidisciplinary education will allow students to gain a deeper understanding of the subject matter through the lens of different disciplines. So that is how the concept of this multidisciplinary education came. And when this United Nations agenda was signed in 2015, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said at that time, much of India's development agenda is mirrored in the Sustainable Development Goals. Our all policies are aligned with that. Even our recently concluded G20 meeting, its work was also aligned with the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And one of the goals in these 17 is goal number 4, that is quality education. And quality education is ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. So in this sustainable development goal, these terms come: inclusive, equitable, quality, lifelong learning. And this goal was announced in 2015. Our new education policy came in 2020. Therefore, you can very well understand that the various provisions of NEP 2020 are basically aligned with SDG 4. NEP 2020 is aligned with those goals because that is the commitment of the government of India. So education also needs to address to this. So how we will do that, that is going to be a challenge for all of us. And this is the challenge number 2, which I have told you. Challenge number 3 is 21st century learning needs. Because in the modern age, learning needs are varying. And it is now said that in the 21st century, if you want to excel, you need at least 2 things. One is rigorous academic content. You have to be very good in the subject. And then 21st century skills. These 2 taken together lead to deeper learning. So deeper learning is basically an umbrella term. includes both of them. Now the question may come, what are these 21st century skills? 21st century skills are a set of abilities which everyone should have in the modern world. These are 21st century skills. Look at them. They come under three categories: learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. Under learning skills, we have critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, 4 Cs. Under literacy skills, we have information literacy, media literacy, technology literacy, IMT we call it. Life skills, flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skill, FLIPS. Taken together, these are 12 skills. But these 12 skills are must for each one of us, not only our students, even for us also. Because they will help you in elevating your job performance. You will become a better teacher, you will become a better researcher, you will become, in any profession you may be, you will become better. You may ask the question why these skills have become so important. Because, artificial intelligence cannot replicate them. You cannot have a machine which is critically thinking or which is creative. You cannot have a machine which is having leadership quality or which is media literate. No. So all of us must focus on these, and these are skills. This is not the knowledge. You should not know the meaning of critical thinking or what is the meaning of creativity. No. You should become creative. You should become critical thinker. You should become information literate, media literate, technology literate. Because skills are practical. Knowledge is theoretical. You have to understand that. So, the requirement in the modern world is you need to acquire competence for any profession, for excellence. And this can come through quality education. And quality education in the 21st century will ultimately focus on these three things. This is a very important slide, please. Quality education will focus on three things: knowledge, subject knowledge, disciplinary, interdisciplinary, and practical knowledge. Then 21st century skills, which I just talked. Then domain-specific skills. You are in chemistry, you also need 21st century skills and some chemistry-related skills or economics-related skills. Or if you are an engineer, those skills. And third is your values, attitude, traits, your personality. See, these three things, knowledge, skills, and personality, determine your competence for any profession. You may be in any profession, your competence will be determined by this. Suppose you are in an IAS. You need knowledge, but of a different type. You need skills, maybe of a different type, but personality also matters. That is why, all higher educational institutions are focusing on building adequate infrastructure and creating conducive learning environment so that quality education could be imparted to the students. And even in almost all universities, we are now having skill enhancement courses and value-added courses. Value-added courses will change your personality. Skill enhancement courses will improve your skills. See, when we were students, nobody talked about skills or personality, not much focus. Everybody focused more on knowledge, but now the world has changed. It is a skill-dominated world now. Many big companies are hiring people without degrees, provided they have the skills. And therefore, the aim of quality education is to acquire competence through quality education. And this is the summary. Knowledge, skills, and personality, that ultimately determines your competence. That is what we sometimes call competency-based education, competencies. These days, people talk about outcome-based education. See, whenever in any education or formal education, you focus on these three things only: knowledge, skills, or personalities. So competencies are also the mixture of these three. It cannot be anything else. So this is a very important point which I wanted, and this is a challenge for you to give quality education to our students. The fourth challenge is that in India, there is a need of creative and innovative minds. Dearth of creative and innovative minds. You see, there is a crisis of innovation and creativity in Indian education system. Look at the fact, no Indian scientist working in India has been able to get Nobel Prize after 1930. C.V. Raman was the last person who got it. It is more than 90 years, 94 years. No chemist has ever got while working in India. These people did get Nobel Prize, no doubt, but they were non-resident Indians. Amartya Sen, although he is an Indian, but for years he has been staying abroad. Abhijit Banerjee is an American citizen. So, Nobel Prize is not a lifetime achievement award. No. If you want to excel in research at that level, you need these three things minimum, besides many others. Enormous amount of creativity and open-mindedness. Then willingness to collaborate. We teach our students to become competitors. Once that feeling comes, it becomes difficult for them to collaborate. They look at every other person as a competitor. And then perseverance and resilience. We sometimes want immediate gains. That may not be possible. I remember a few years back, a person in chemistry got Nobel Prize at the age of 97 years. And resilience, bounce back. If failures occur, you should bounce back. And we lack in these things. That is the reason why our ranking is not very good. So one of the main reasons for poor world ranking of our higher educational institutions is poor quality of our research programs. We don't teach our students for doing research. And unfortunately, best students sometimes don't come to research. No. This was the report recently presented in Rajya Sabha. Best science students are going to civil services. Very few from humanities, but 76% during this period, 2017 to 2021. 76% of the candidates selected for All India Civil Services were from science stream, engineering, sciences, medicine. So you can very well see people are not coming to research because system is wrong. We have been focusing more on rote learning. I'll talk about that. And why do we lack in quality research? See, if you look, each one of you are in higher education system. Why we lack in quality research? You do your introspection. It is linked with our education system. There is a fundamental flaw in our education system. And the flaw is, just watch this video.
For decades, people have been finding hundreds of flaws in the education system. No conceptual understanding, no creativity, children are stressed, and the list goes on. All these are symptoms. But what is the root cause to all this? What is the fundamental flaw in the education system? Let us play a rapid-fire game. You have 1 second to answer every question. Let's start. First question. A4? Okay, no more questions. Did you think apple first? 98% of people are most likely to think so. Because that was what we were told in our kindergarten. Imagine that this was done differently. Say we had asked you for all the words starting with A. Ant, ace, April, apt. Different answers would have popped out of everyone's head. Do you see where the problem is? Before children start going to school, every child is unique. Every child thinks different. But the education system makes every child think the same. This is the fundamental flaw in the education system. Why did this start? During the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, The education system was designed to make children ready to work in factories. The factories did not require people to think, but to only work like robots. So, the education system stripped children of their freedom to think and destroyed their true potential. The same education system continues even today. Only the industries have changed. A study by NASA shows that 98% of children think different before they start going to school. As they go through this education system, at 25 years of age, only 2% think different and 98% think the same. So how does the education system make every child the same? Let's go back to the apple example. Kindergarten lessons told us that A is for apple. We asked you for words that start with A. Our education system gave us the answers. We asked you a question. Answers make you the same. Questions make you different. Right from kindergarten, the education system keeps giving answers. Instead of asking children how plants make food, the science teacher gives you the definition of photosynthesis. Instead of asking them to describe the sun, the teacher tells them that the sun is a ball of fire at the center of the solar system. Through their years in school, children lose the capability to think on their own. Whether it is their choice of career or their relationship or any situation in life, they become.
So you can see how our education system stripped the children of their ability to think on their own. So how can you expect quality research coming out of such minds? And please remember, our education system is outdated, does not encourage thinking, innovation, and creativity. And without creativity, there can be no progress. And we would be forever repeating the same things which we have been teaching. So this was a serious problem. Now I come to the challenge 5. So how to enhance the quality of higher education imparted in India? See, in any education system, 3 things are very important. What do you teach? That is the curriculum. How do you teach? That is the pedagogy. And third is, how do you assess your students? And in all these, we are lacking a lot. Look at India's education system. We have 21st century students, but the content which we teach sometimes is of the 19th century. Methods of teaching, assessment methods, courses, architecture, all old and outdated. We have not changed much with the changing times. That is a serious drawback. Look at curriculum. Curriculum is what do you teach? Curriculum is the total learning experience in any program. And the biggest challenge which is coming to curriculum is from the growth of knowledge. The knowledge in all disciplines is growing very, very fast. So fast that the doubling time of the growth of knowledge has shrunk considerably. Shelf life is becoming shorter. See, there was a time when human knowledge was doubling in 150 years. Now, human knowledge is doubling in almost 73 days. So, what does it mean? That curriculum becomes outdated as soon as it is created. So, you can very well imagine how things are changing. And what we know in any discipline is merely a drop. And what we do not know is an ocean. That's why, NEP 2020 says we need to have modern syllabi, light syllabi. Light because we should give students more time for thinking. Just include core essentials and let them think. Curriculum needs, see, if the syllabi are outdated, they will increase the gap between what is learned and what should be learned. And this affects quality of research. One of the main reasons why we are not able to become leaders and why we are just followers, this is one of the main reasons, outdated syllabi. World is at a different level and we are teaching old things. Professor C.N.R. Rao, Bharat Ratna scientist, he said that 90% of the universities in India have outdated curriculum. We need to have skill-based and industry-led curriculum. World is shifting towards skill-based economy. Emphasis need to be more on practical knowledge and hands-on experience. Teachers need to be trained accordingly. See, the problem is teachers teach skill the same way as they teach knowledge. As I said, knowledge is theoretical, skills are practical. They need different methods of teaching. And skills have become so important that it is now said, future belongs to those who learn new skills and combine them in creative ways. Then comes pedagogy, how we teach. I think this is the most important component in any education system. Pedagogy means art and science of teaching. We still teach by the traditional talk and chalk method, which is a teacher-centric monologue. You cannot explain many concepts on the board. It presumes all students learn in identical fashion. That may not be true. Slow, time-consuming. You can't solve many problems in the class. Because of the paucity of time, you have to finish syllabus, and then the classrooms are also very, very large. Difficult to pay individual attention. And then the focus is on examination, rote learning, and scoring high marks. This is a serious problem. This is today's reality in every discipline. Nobody wants to learn concepts. Everybody wants to score 90+ marks. See, irony of our country is focus is on well-filled mind. We keep on filling the minds of young people with more and more knowledge. What we need is well-formed mind, the mind which is formed out of thinking, innovation, and creativity. See, the real education is that which transforms the learners. Just as a seed is there, then it gets transformed into a plant, then plant to a tree. That sort of transformation must occur. And that's why, it is said, learning is not the product of teaching. Learning is the product of activity of the learners. So, we all should try to engage our students, engage our learners in activities. And once they do things with their hand, they will never forget. And that is the thinking behind learner-centric education. Students learn best when they are engrossed in the topic, motivated to seek out new knowledge and skills because they need them in order to solve the problems at hand. And all this is possible in this information age. Experiential learning is also learner-centric education. That is why fostering experiential learning and critical thinking among students is an important objective of NEP 2020. But experiential learning should start from school levels. See, by the time they come to higher education, they are already quite old, 17, 18-year-olds, so you can't change them much. And in learner-centric or experiential learning, there are many methods. There is not one method. There are many methods. Problem-based learning, project-based learning, case studies, inquiry-based, flipped classroom, collaborative learning, TPS, think, pair, and share strategy, community outreach, international travel, then internship, UG research program. All of them are learner-centric education. In each one of them, learner does something. You focus is on individual learner. And that is always more successful. We will have to change. And through learner-centric education, roles of the learners are going to change from passive learner. In traditional method, they are passive learner. They are just at the receiving end, listening and taking down the notes. But now they will become active, highly independent, and creative thinkers. Please remember, if we teach today's student as we taught yesterday's, we are going to rob them of tomorrow. Teachers will have to change with the changing times. That's very, very important. And changing is itself a challenge. Although, Why we are difficult to change? Because we were taught in that way. Therefore, we are also teaching in the same way. No, we have to change with the changing times. This was my article in Times of India's Education Times, Creativity Crisis in the Indian Education System. This is about flipped classroom. And third is, how do we assess our students? Assessment is very important. Even NEP 2020 says we need to transform the culture of assessment. Because assessment drives learning. The way you will assess your students will learn in that way. So it can be a good way to enhance the quality of education in the country. But not much. Our examination system, if you look, it is still rote-based. Mainly about textbook content and testing facts, definitions, and procedure described there. Anything, if it comes outside the textbook, we start calling it out of syllabus or even protest. See, learning is not, the learning of the facts. It is the training of the mind to think. But we focus on 90+ marks. Then our traditional examination don't assess the skills India needs. Therefore, assessment process needs to be made more scientific to encourage multiple skills of the students, such as analytical thinking, critical thinking, conceptual clarity. This is must. And only teachers can start in this regard. Because there are about 4 crore students in higher education. Teachers can play a very important role. Their competence, their skills, their creativity can do wonders. But we will have to change. This is the message. This is a big. See, otherwise what we do, if we have to set a question paper, we just take a few last year's question papers and just set it within 3-4 hours, we are able to set a question paper. Then the whole purpose is defeated. For example, look at cognitive learning, mental level, knowledge. It is a 6-level hierarchy. This is the revised Bloom's taxonomy. Cognitive learning takes you from remembering, understanding, application up to creativity. So cognitive learning takes you from lower order thinking skill to higher order thinking skill. And there are 6 learning outcomes: remembrance, understand, application, up to creativity. Now, assessment should test all the 6 outcomes. But generally in our examination, we test the lower one, remembering, understanding, a little bit application, nothing beyond that. That's why, it is said that for lower order thinking skill, you can have MCQs, short question answer, match, fill in the blanks, numericals. But for higher order thinking skills, you should have projects, internship, e-portfolios, field work. This combination can do wonders. And now see, CUTE has become very popular in the country, CUET, Common University Entrance Test. But it is all MCQ based. MCQs have some serious limitations. So we should not forget that. But then it has advantages. You can very easily do, you have the 4 options, you can do all that. But we cannot compromise with that. Then the next challenge, 6th challenge, is you need to embrace technology and become tech savvy. This is another very big challenge for each one of us, because it's difficult to imagine education without technology in the 21st century. And even NEP 2020 says that the relationship between technology and education at all levels is bidirectional. Technology enhances the quality of education, and enhanced quality of education then further improves the technology. So they just feed on each other. And technology has already changed the way education is imparted now, you all know. But technology should be used strategically to benefit the students. See, it's very unfortunate that the excessive use of technology by the students has impacted adversely their creativity. They have stopped thinking. For every small thing, they are dependent on technology. They have even forgotten to write with their own hands. Very unfortunate. But still, technology has changed the way the education is imparted. Look at this. This is the impact of ICT in higher education. And all this happened during COVID times. Teaching learning has changed. E-learning, MOOCs, PowerPoint presentations have become very popular. Experimental work is done through virtual labs. The revision of syllabi you can do through email, discussion forum, video conferencing. So many ICT tools have come which have changed the way the research is conducted now. Examinations are becoming online. Assessment, National Testing Agency has been created. Most of the major exams of the country are online. Professional development of the teachers is in online mode. ICT empowered pedagogies have come. So totally things have changed. In the future, more things are going to come in future. Because technology in education is a journey. Now artificial intelligence is coming, which is redefining the education in the world. Actually, artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the way the teaching, learning, and research are done. So you can see how fast the world is changing. But please remember, technology will never replace great teachers. Technology in the hands of great teachers is transformational. You have to be a great teacher. You should know the subject very well. A lot of thinking, what I told you in the beginning. But if along with that, you're also very good in tech or you are tech savvy, that combination can do wonders. But unfortunately, most of the teachers have stopped being in touch with their subject. This was my article in Times of India, technology won't replace teachers. So in the light of all what I have said, the roles of the teachers are changing now. This is the other last challenge which I want to say before I move to the other part. Roles of the teachers are going to change in the 21st century. And what are going to be these roles? You can see you have to become tech-savvy teachers in ICT skills, 21st century skills, artificial intelligence skills, etc. If students are enrolled in e-learning and MOOCs, and if they have some queries, who will answer them? You. So you must learn how to manage virtual classroom or discussion forum. You should also try to engage students by learner-centric pedagogies. So teachers will become mostly now coach or mentors rather than knowledge providers. There was a time when teacher was considered to be the source of knowledge. Not now. Now there are multiple sources of knowledge. You should also be proficient in the development of e-content and MOOCs. You should be very good in the subject, and then you should have excellent writing skills. That is also missing sometimes in the teachers. They might be teaching a paper for many years, but if you ask them to write, it may be difficult sometimes. So these are some of the new roles for the teachers. But we will have to change with the changing times. A change of mindset is the need of the hour. Please remember it. Don't think what I know is enough. No, not at all. I must learn more. There is a very famous quote, birds born in a cage think flying is an illness. So change your mindset. And all the challenges which I have told you, these are going to be the real challenges. Just try to start changing yourself through this regular empowerment of the teachers. And now I come to the last part, which is part C also. Here I will give you some personality development tips for enhancing your competence. See, this is the thing in which I lacked when I became lecturer in Delhi University when I was just 21 years old. See, nobody told us these things. Therefore, I made it a point to include it in my talk so that the young colleagues are able to understand the importance of this. I showed you this slide earlier. If you want to raise your competence, you need to excel in all the three: knowledge, skills, and personality. Even if one of them is weak, it will impact your competence adversely. So, personality here means a set of traits and behaviors that characterize an individual. It's not only looks. No, don't take it like that. There is a report that 87% of all people fail, not because of capability, but because of their personality. And the worst part is the people who fail, they do not know that their own personality is coming in the way of their job performance. That's the sad part. They always blame the others. You know, the importance of personality, you can judge from the fact that personality influences almost every aspect of human life. So it can transform your entire life. Therefore, I am giving you some personality development tips in the form of life lessons. These are lessons which I learned in my life, but I learned generally by the time it was quite late. But still, it's a message for you. One thing you should be very clear: life can only be understood backwards, but then it has to be lived forwards. So that's what you have to do. I'm sharing with what I have understood. It's a very beautiful quote where grandma telling the granddaughter, life is only a short trip, enjoy it. Life looks like an eternity, but actually it is just a very short trip. Very soon the trip will be over. See, we all may be 30, 40, 50, 60, whatsoever may be age, so many years have gone. One doesn't know the rest. So enjoy it. The problem is, we people do not know the art of living. Learn the art of living. Most people in this world are only existing. Living has become very rare. Please remember, you live only once. But if you do it right, I think one is more than enough. And also remember, art of living means the capability to draw pleasure from life and to succeed in the greatest test called life. Life itself is a big test. You have to be successful in that. You will never find the happy life. You have to make it happy. And there is no perfect life. Nobody has perfect life. We can only fill it with perfect moments. Please note down these points. They are very, very meaningful. They can change your life. Look at this. This was the report in Indian Express just a few days back. According to the World Happiness Index 2024, India ranks 126 out of 143 nations. People are not happy. They are stressed, thinking, don't feel very confident, always worried, all that sort of things. And you know, the art of living lies in a fine mingling of letting go and holding on. Some things you should let go, some things you should hold on. It's just a mixture of that. And there is a very famous quote which I like. दुनिया जिसे कहते हैं जादू का खिलौना है, मिल जाए तो मिट्टी है, खो जाए तो सोना है. That's our mindset. And one more thing about life you should remember, life will never be fair. So don't complain, life is not fair. जिंदगी बहुत कुछ देकर भी किसी ना किसी चीज के लिए फकीर बनाए रखती. So please remember this. This is the realities of life. So with this thing in mind, These are now some of the tips for you. Be proactive in life. Proactive means you focus on preparing. Reactive means you end up focusing on repairing. So be proactive. Proactive people don't wait for the shit to come in, they swim out to it. They take action well in advance. So be proactive in life. This will be a big help to you. And work hard sensibly. I know many of you must be very hard working. But sensible hard work is very, very important. In respect of working hard, direction is more important than speed. Choose your direction very carefully. Of course, you are free to choose any direction, but then you will not be free from the consequences of your choice. So think carefully, plan carefully. It's rather very unfortunate that most of us spend more time planning their vacation rather than planning their career. Plan your career very carefully. And then work on that. And remember, life is a process. No one rises suddenly in this world, not even the sun. You have to keep on working, be persistent, never give up once you have chosen the right path. And then self-belief is something very important. Always believe in yourself. Self-confidence, that is what I mean. A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of the branch breaking because her trust is not in the branch but in her own wings. That's the confidence you should have. And a person who believes in himself has no need to convince others. So this self-belief can do wonders for you. And when you achieve something, never become arrogant in life. Please, this is a common mistake people do. A small success goes into their head and they become arrogant. Arrogance is the surest path to failure. See, confidence and arrogance sometimes look alike, but confidence comes from self-belief. Arrogance comes from ego. Look at this quote. कभी किसी चीज का घमंड आ जाए तो शमशान का एक चक्कर लगा आना, तुमसे बेहतरीन लोग वहां राख बने पड़े. So you are a dust. And this is a very famous quote from Bible. Remember, you are dust, and to dust you shall go. Keep this reality of life always in mind, then you will never become arrogant. These are just the different phases of life. समय और भाग्य पर कभी अहंकार मत करो, क्योंकि ये दोनों परिवर्तनशील हैं. पता ही भी नहीं चलेगा कि क्या हो गया. और कई बार होता है ना, बहुत दूर देखने की चाह में बहुत कुछ नजदीक से गुजर जाता. और then in your pursuit of goals, self-discipline helps you a lot. When I say self-discipline, it means mastery over your thoughts. If you can control what you think, you can always control what you do. This is the greatest quality a person should have. Self-discipline. Because there is nothing in this world that can trouble you more than your own thoughts. So, control yourself. Cages are not made of iron, they are made of thoughts. An average person thinks 70,000 thoughts a day. And if you can control mindset. See, brain is there, brain is a physical organ. Mind is like a software. If you can control that, you can control half of your life. If you can learn self-control, you can master anything. Start practicing it. It will change your life. You can control your future by changing your attitude. Yes, attitude comes from mindset. And then this self-discipline will also prepare you for mental toughness, which you need sometimes, especially in the face of adversity. It will make you mentally tough. And then always strive for excellence. A penguin can never be a giraffe, so try to be the best penguin you can. Understand your limitation. Don't compare yourself with others. Try to be the best you can be. Excellence should be the key word. Then be positive and honest. You don't need to proclaim to the world that you are very honest. Nobody bothers. But it is for your inner conscience. Have always positive thinking. Look at this, 11 marks out of 10. Positive thinkers will have a solution for every problem. Negative thinkers will have a problem for every solution. And we meet both types of people in our day-to-day life. Think positive. And then many of our young colleagues are not able to achieve much because they are living in a comfort zone. Oh, I am getting good salary. My husband or my wife getting good salary. Children are well set. Why should I? So that becomes a comfort zone. Please remember, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. It's only when you have stepped out of your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. You will have to come out of a comfort zone. Overcome fear of failure. This is a very common problem. People don't take initiative because they may not fail. Please remember, जब तक तुम डरते रहोगे, तुम्हारी जिंदगी के फैसले कोई और लेता रहे. Overcome fear of failure. Failures can be the pillars of success depending on how you take them. Fail means first attempt in learning. Take it like that. Again, mindset, mind control. Your attitude towards failure determines your altitude after failure. And attitude comes again from mindset. So you can see everything revolves around your mind. See, there are three things in each of us. Body, beauty, that will fade with age. Then mind, thought process. And third is heart, emotions. If you align the two, you will get amazing results. And then stop worrying and start living. Most of young colleagues are worried a lot. Habit, it has become their perennial habit. Please remember, worry is a misuse of your imagination. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. And one day you will look back and realize that you worried perhaps too much about the things that don't really matter. But by that time would have gone and you cannot do anything. So just control worrying. And the best advice to you is worry about the things which are in your control and not about the things which are out of your control. What is in your control? Your attitude, your effort, your focus. Why to worry about what will happen in future, what other people will think of you, what will be the outcome of my efforts? Why to bother about that? And then take risks in life. Be courageous. Sometimes you need to lose small battles in order to win the war. No problem. Take risks. Be prepared to lose if you want to win in life. It's okay. No problem. And this is small advice to you, especially young colleagues. Create a sense of urgency in your life. What I mean is, if you give yourself 30 days to clean your home, it will take you 30 days. But if you give yourself 3 hours, it will take you 3 hours. So the same applies to your goals, ambitions, and potential. You can create a new life for yourself by creating more urgency in your current life. Finish them quickly. This is what I mean when I say create a sense of urgency in your life. Because work otherwise will expand according to the time available. That you should not let it happen. And then control anger. This is also a normal emotion, but please remember, the fire of anger burns you first. You are the first victim. And in anger, always control your words. Never say mean words out of anger, because your anger will pass, but your mean words can scare a person for life. Either be silent or use kindness. And there is a very famous, psychology saying that beneath anger, there is always some fear. Whenever you are angry, there is some fear in your mind. This is what psychology says. And this is a very useful practical tip. किसी पर ज्यादा नाराज होने से बेहतर है कि धीरे धीरे अपने जीवन में उसकी अहमियत को कम कर. Yes, this is a practical tip. You can do that slowly. And then, so ladies and gentlemen, ultimately time management is very important. Time management is life management. And there is a very famous quote by Amitabh, कल खो दिया आज के लिए, आज खो दिया कल के लिए, कभी जी ना सके हम आज, आज के लिए, बीत रही है जिंदगी कल, आज और कल के. That is how the whole life passes. So manage your time. Everybody gets 24 hours a day. The secret to success is how you manage those 24 hours. Invest your time, don't spend it. And please remember, every day is once in a lifetime. That day is gone, it will never come again. बंधी हैं हाथ पर सबके घड़ियां, मगर पकड़ में किसी के एक लम्हा भी नहीं. And time spares no one. Look at anybody. Just, I don't know whether this works, but this shows you that time spares no one.
समय की धारा में, समय की धारा में मरी है जानी थी जो घड़ी थी जो घड़ी थी वही है जानी थी.
See, all these were having mass following, so many fans, and see how time changed. That's life. So the message is live in the moment. Don't think too far. The present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all moments. Life becomes more meaningful when you realize the simple fact that you will never get the same moment twice. And one more thing which I included recently in this talk, you should also learn to deal with office or workplace politics. This is taking a toll on many people. Most of the young, staff or members or teachers, they are indulging in this, and this disturbs their peace of mind. They are not able to work. Their career is also, because somehow they get involved. See, office politics in simplest is the differences between the people at work. It can be in opinions, personalities, authority, or power. It is inevitable. Politics will always be there in any organization. Nobody can stop it. But when the negative office politics begins to fester, organizations and individuals start suffering. That is the sad part. So how to turn this negative politics into a positive workplace culture? Although there can be a full lecture on this, but I will just give you a few tips. Stay focused on your work and professional goals. By maintaining a strong work ethic, you can build a reputation based on your performance rather than office politics. Choose your friends very carefully. Identify the gossip mongers and backstabbers. There are many people. They will stab you in the back. Toxic people are there. Then stay objective and don't take sides. Office politics often involves different factions or conflicts within the workplace. Please remain neutral and avoid taking sides in such situations, because your peace of mind is most important. If some people are able to disturb your peace of mind and you keep on thinking about that, then they are successful in their motives. Don't oblige them, not at all. Never, never, never do that. Please remember, while it is challenging to completely eradicate office politics, you have the power to minimize its impact. How? Again, I am repeating, by focusing on your work, building positive relationships, staying neutral but informed, and avoiding over-promising and under-delivering. That is also very common in people. you can navigate office politics with resilience and maintain your professionalism. Take care of that. Otherwise, in this period, which is your most productive period, most of the time gossiping, spending time talking about that will lead you nowhere. Everywhere it has been always there. But by the time you realize that all this was useless, the time would have gone. Then you cannot do anything. Because it is a race against time. And please remember, inside every person your closest friend even, there will always be one person whom you don't. This is something you have to keep it in your mind. Never say that I know this person fully. No, it will never happen. And then have a high opinion of yourself. See, having a low opinion of yourself is not modesty, it is self-destruction. Think high of yourself. It is a necessary precondition for success. You may not be perfect in many things, agreed, but then many things cannot be perfect without you. So stay special in your own little ways. No one can match you. You are unique. So ladies and gentlemen, coming to the end, at the end of the day, you will agree in all this talk, the biggest competition is with you only. You have to win over yourself. You have to become the master of your mind. You have not to become the puppet of your mind. Be your own king. And you are a king if you know how to rule yourself. And I told you how you can rule yourself. Through self-belief, self-discipline, controlling worries, controlling anger. This is all ruling yourself. You don't have the problem. You are the problem. Mindset is the problem. Attitude is the problem. स्वर्ग भी तू है, नर्क भी तू है. इन दोनों का फर्क भी तू. जिंदगी छोटी नहीं होती. लोग जीना ही देरी से शुरू करते हैं. जब तक रास्ते समझ में आते हैं तब तक लौटने का वक्त. And then it's never too late to be what you might have been. You can still. Even from tomorrow, you can change your life. You will see a big difference in your life. I wish I had to relive. I would live it in a better way because I also learned so many things quite late. Challenges keep us fresh. There is a famous quote, a ship is safe in harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. So similarly, humans are not designed to be happy in status quo. Continue to remain dissatisfied so that you can get better and better. Challenges are what keep us fresh. Don't take every challenge as a problem. Take every problem as a challenge. Challenges are the doorways to excellence, opportunities in disguise. And there is a very famous quote, when the winds of change blow, some people build walls while others build windmills. It's how you use your opportunity. It is up to you. This is a very famous Chinese proverb. And these are some of the common habits of the most successful people in the world from diverse fields. These are common habits: strategic planning and deliverance, laser-sharp focus and determination, risk-taking ability, hard work and consistency, never give up attitude, health and fitness. Health and fitness is very important because at one stage you will realize you have everything, but health is letting you down. Then one regrets. So all these are very happy. These are the lessons people learn too late in life, but I have told you today. Everything is temporary in this world. Stay connected but not attached. Life is never fair. Don't complain. Beneath anger is always fear. Things don't matter that much. People matter. Once people leave your life, they create a vacuum, but then still that's a part of life. You can't do anything. A lifetime is not very long. Very soon the life will be over. It's a short trip. We are all on a short trip. We know our date of birth. We don't know our date of death. You played it too safe. You should have taken risks in life. Then life has no reset button. Live every day like it's your last. And realization comes to everybody in life. Everybody will realize, but generally by the time realization comes, it's too late. So that's why I told you all these things in this talk. Things end, people leave, time passes, memories fade, feelings change, and you know what? Life goes on. That's what the life is. One day you will be just a memory for some people. Do your best to be a good one. जिंदगी के रंगमंच पर अपना किरदार इतनी शिद्दत से निभाएं कि पर्दा गिरने के बाद भी तालियां बजती रहें. जिंदगी नहीं मिलेगी दोबारा. So, thank you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you and sharing some of my thoughts. Your questions, your feedback in the chat box and others, all are welcome. And please try to follow whatsoever I have said. These can change your life. These can prove to be a game changer for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it was really a motivating session, not only on the professional front, but even on the personal front. I think we all will like to take these tips as a life lesson. And any questions are there? You can raise your hands, please. I think many
Any
comments
question,
of
any comment, any
yeah, many comments are
suggestion?
coming on chat, sir. So
Pardon?
on chat, there are so many comments about very nice presentation and excellent talk, so on. So very motivating indeed.
No. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So it's a great start, sir, you have done. And let's see how professionally our colleagues can take the path that you have shown to them. Yeah.
See, even if you just follow little bit of this talk, this will change your life. I'm telling you. Don't let it be just like a one lecture. No, don't take it as merely as a lecture. It can be a game changer for you. That's what I feel. I always feel that.
And I personally like that that in storms, obviously there is a fear for the ships, but then it's just standing on the harbor. That's not what you're built for. So all my colleagues, just introspect, what are you built for? So do take risk, and that's how I think life becomes more satisfying. Even your profession
Actually,
career.
Vimal, sometimes I feel, this is my personal feeling, that all these things we should teach our students from school times onwards,
Yeah.
so that their personality can be accordingly molded. So that by the time they grow up and become an adult, they are all, having all these personality traits. Unfortunately, we don't focus on that. That is the sad part.
That's why in Sir NEP now there is a focus on holistic development, and you rightly mentioned that how not simply the knowledge but attitude, everything, skills, and these are very, very important. So any other question that you like, you can please write in the chat. I think Dr. Surendra is writing, students are burdened so much in colleges and they don't have time to think for themselves. They work just to finish the task provided by teachers. Please comment on it, sir. So your thoughts on that, sir?
No, let the person unmute him or her, whosoever is the person, let them ask them. Because sometimes, please ask your question. You can unmute yourself and talk.
Who is there from the technical team? Make a provision to unmute. Ankit, Gayatri, Shrutika. Meanwhile, sir, let me read it again. Students are burdened so much in colleges or university that they don't have time to think for themselves. They work just to finish the tasks which are given by their teachers. So please comment on it.
No, I don't think, it's all a question of priority. They are so much burdened that they don't have the time to think for themselves. I don't think that can work. This sort of habit needs to be inculcated in students from school time onwards. Only then you can change their personality. See, personality can be changed. That is the big plus point of personality. But the older you become, the more difficult it becomes to change your personality. Therefore, the best thing is that one should start it from school level onwards. Prioritize the things. If they are so much burdened, it means there is a lot of pressure. They don't have time for other things. No, they have to be told what are your priorities and divide your time or daily 24 hours in terms of those priorities. Only then they will change. See, these are the habits which need to be inculcated by our young students. And we never focus on that. So I think the problem with our education system is that from kindergarten onward, these sort of feelings should be done, values should be inculcated. As we always say, the ultimate goal of education is threefold. One is to produce a good human being. When I say good human being, it is in terms of values. Then a responsible citizen. And the third is a competent professional. So that is how the whole focus of education, especially the formal education, should be. That's what I feel.
Can you unmute Dr. Surindu? Just try. Ankit, unmute Dr. Surindu. Let me see. I think now you can.
Yes.
Yes, you're on.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Surinder. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Hello.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you.
Yes, yes.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
Sir, my concern is that nowadays concept of CA has been introduced.
Concept of?
Continuous assessments. CA, continuous assessment, has been introduced. For one subject, student has to give 5 CAs. 1 unit and 1 CA. Second unit, then second CA, and so on. If subject having the 5 units, then if one student has to go for 5 CAs, 5 tests. If, for example, in a particular semester, student is having the 5 courses, then he has to prepare for the 25 continuous assessment along with the midterm exams as well as the end-term exams.
Yes.
That's why I have written students they don't have time to think for themselves. They just work to finish the task that we provided them.
No, that I agree with you that in that sense they are quite burdened, because if they have 5 different subjects and then 5 CS per subject, so ultimately it becomes 25. But what I mean to say is that it's not that only at that stage they should be told about all these things. These should be inculcated in our students from school level onwards, because only then they will become a permanent part of your personality. These habits, these life-changing tips which I have given you, they can change your life only when they consciously or unconsciously become a part of your life, your personality itself. And this should, many countries, they do it from, kindergarten onwards. Small thing they start teaching them. so that when they grow up as an individual, it's already a part of their personality. So it has nothing to do with CAs or not. You are right if you think that these values should be done along with those, 5 subject, 5 CAs, 25 CAs, then values, then it will become too much. You cannot wait that long for the students to imbibe these qualities. This should be done from the very beginning, only then they will change. Otherwise not. No, I fully agree with you. Where are you?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm at Sharda University, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
And Dr.
Thank you,
Surinder,
sir.
we'll
Thank
see that how even the assessment mechanism needs to be changed. We as teachers are also overburdened. If you're talking about 5 assessments to be taken, they should not be where you are manually checking them. I hope you are not manually checking them, are you?
Manually, ma'am, manually checking. We are
So
manually
sorry,
checking.
we'll talk about that how assessments can be done with the help of technology. Some part.
Nowadays, but paper come online.
Yeah. So some part can be that way.
But Vimal, maybe we will be talking about the various tools which they can use.
Can be, yeah.
There are so many ICT tools.
Being a teacher, we are also overburdened, ma'am.
That is a different aspect that you can use your various tools to, quickly go through the various assignments. That's altogether a different approach, and that we will be discussing in this program. But besides that, in value-added courses, or all these should be made a part of, our curriculum so that students grow up as a holistic individual. That is very, very important.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you so much, sir, for your very enlightening session. And I think it is going to be very, very useful for all the colleagues. And let us see that, can we check whether Ved Prakash sir has joined? Because I told him around 7.
What time is he supposed to join?
Around 7. So 6:58, maybe he's about just. Sir, you also please stay on. Maybe we can see. Meanwhile, there is one comment by Dr. Sheikh Irfan Ahmed that student must have one paper as a combination of maths, application of electronics, and basic computer languages. Any thoughts on that, sir?
What? One paper on?
One paper as combination of maths plus application of electronics plus computer languages.
I don't know what is the rationale behind them. It's always better if the person is speaking, then we can ask him what is the thinking behind that.
Dr. Sheikh Irfan, like to...
let them speak. Why he thinks so.
अंकित, डॉक्टर शेख को वो करो, या वरुण जो भी है अभी टीम में से.
Hello.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Hello.
हाँ जी सर, सुन रहे हैं हम आपको. प्लीज बताइए.
While writing the program, all the 3 things is required. We require the mathematics for the program, and higher order we require the numerical analysis, computer programming, or any language if you want to read, you have to go for the mathematical. And
कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा.
I think, sorry sir, we are not able to hear you properly. आपके signal में या तो maybe you try.
Now you can hear.
हाँ, now it is better.
Okay, because what happens if writing the program, it requires language. Plus, if there is not such a language, if you want to develop the system, you need the electronic devices or some circuit we can develop on the basis of this. Okay, and we should have the knowledge of mathematics to deal with the problem. So this paper should be include from the standard 9, 10th or 11, 12, and it should continue throughout the education.
I don't know what is, but I'm not able to hear it properly.
Okay, can I write the same thing?
You can speak to me. I have given you my number. You can talk to me. We can discuss. Please.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, maybe this is
I've
not.
given
Because-
my number. You can always talk. There are so many people who call me and talk to me. Please, you are welcome.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you. All the best.
And Dr. Sheikh and others, today is just the first session. After this, there will be so many, and then we'll see that what all your thoughts and or ideas can be integrated and taken further. I think Professor Ved Prakash sir has joined. Can we request sir to please put on your video on and yeah, good morning, sir, and welcome, please.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning and
Good morning,
from good
Professor
evening
Bakshi.
side, sir. Good
Professor
morning
Bakshi,
from good
evening.
evening side.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
How are you, sir? Fine?
I'm fine. Thank you. How are you?
Very fine. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Achha.
We were just waiting for you.
Achha. Okay.
So,
तो अभी morning हुई है, so that's why I wished him from other part of our world. And the next session we are going to have in this NEP sensitization and orientation program is by another stalwart in higher education system, Professor Ved Prakash sir, who is former chairman, University Grants Commission. And I would like to again briefly introduce, although again he doesn't like this part, but then, sir, this is going to be motivational for all our colleagues to know your path. And let me tell you, who has come from both of Professor Bakshi as well as Professor Ved Prakash sir from very humble background, and on their own they have risen to these heights. So if you talk about Professor Ved Prakash sir, he has done his DLit, PhD, MSc, MEd, US. He was also US Fulbright Fellow, Michigan University, and CCE, PAP, HIID, Harvard University. And he has professional experience of more than 48 years in policymaking, teaching, research, and administration. Professor Ved Prakash, a distinguished name in Indian academia, has a unique distinction of spearheading the University Grants Commission, that is UGC, the apex regulator of higher education in India, as its chairman, vice chairman, and secretary for around 15 years. Under his stewardship, UGC had made significant strides in the area of curriculum reforms, internationalization, basic scientific research, skill education. I recall the BWalk, AMWalk courses put up in his tenure, gender and social equity in higher education, to name a few. He has to his credit the transformation of National Institute of Education Planning and Administration, NEPA, into a university where he also served as its founder vice chancellor. In his stellar career of 48 years, he had made seminal contribution as advisor education in the Planning Commission of India, chairman National Council for Teacher Education, professor and head DEME NCRT, Joint Director Staff Selection Commission, Government of India, and at NCRT he was also instrumental in implementing the National Talent Search Examination and other very premium national level examinations. A US Fulbright scholar, Professor Ved Prakash, has been a visiting faculty at University of Windsor, Canada, a guest faculty at HIID, Harvard University, and consultant to the World Bank. He has the distinction of being an interlocutor under the prestigious US International Visitors Leadership Program. He has the honor of serving as a member of the jury for a notable UNESCO APID Venue Award for Educational Innovation for 10 long years. He represented India in numerous bilateral and multilateral forums in about 30 foreign countries. He has published extensively on a wide spectrum of areas concerning school education, higher education, and educational planning and administration. And no doubt he has been conferred with many coveted awards, which I am not naming here, and honors in the field of education, the immense contribution that he has made. And I will also like to add that more than the number of positions I have told to you. I think 3 times positions he has declined. So he was offered many other prestigious top level positions at national and international level. So, sir, we are really thankful for uh, coming again in this batch for taking many sessions. We'll be having today 1 and 2 more sessions coming. Same with Professor Bakshi, sir. We'll be having 3 more sessions. And for guiding and supporting us to take this national endeavor further. So I welcome, sir. Please, over to you.
Professor Bakshi, I do not know how to thank Professor Vimal for giving such a long introduction, which in fact put us in a very embarrassing situation. And every time we request her not to do that, but then she is Vimal and she doesn't listen to us. So we respect her and we'll listen very quietly that.
No, sir, when you give guidance, then I listen. कुछ तो मेरा भी सुनना पड़ेगा.
Very nice. Okay. See, the younger generation is far more intelligent and more passionate. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I was delighted to learn that he was telling that the younger generation has more perseverance than the older generation in the academic world. And so that we have a ray of hope, actually, that they are going to make significant contribution in revolutionizing the higher education system, particularly in the country. A very good evening to all the participants who have joined this orientation program from different places. In fact, the idea of this program is to give all of you a specific orientation about higher education. And I mean, people like Professor Bakshi, Professor Vimal, and many more, they will be talking on different aspects of higher education. I believe, that this is a very good beginning by the Ministry of Education, that they have decided to organize this program in such a manner. They have identified multiple centers across the country. And of them, one such center is the Vimal's Center, which has been nurtured by Professor Bakshi for a long time. And these centers are organizing lectures. Yesterday, I was contacted by one of my colleagues from Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, Pune, and I was quite surprised that such a center is also given the responsibility of organizing the orientation program. So this is a very good thing, actually. When we are talking about policy, actually, which is in the public domain for over 3 years after its approval in July 2020. So I believe that all of you are quite familiar with the National Education Policy 2020. It's not a big document, and it consists of hardly 63, 65 pages, wherein if you focus on higher education, there are only 17 pages. And we have talked in that about 21 important aspects. If you thumb through that document, you would find that we have expressed our intents through the National Education Policy 2020, wherein we have talked about the expectations that we have from the policy, like the earlier policies as well, vision of the policy, what are the structural changes that we have proposed, how are we going to massify the Indian higher education system through the use of different modes of delivery, including face-to-face mode of delivery, coupled with the open and distance learning mode of higher education and the online mode of higher education. We have talked a lot about the use of technology, We have talked about skilling, integration of values. We have also talked about the regulatory mechanism and effective governance. So there are different aspects. I'm sure that you are quite familiar with that. I'm not going to spend this time sharing all that has been proposed in the National Education Policy. You can ask me questions on that once I'm done with something which I consider would be far more important for you to know. I would like to share with you some global trends so that you get an idea how the higher education is shaping up across the globe in terms of its expansion, in terms of inclusivity, in terms of gender equality, in terms of quality, flexible learning pathways, quality assurance, quality frameworks, and mobility of the international students, and the financing of higher education. And the purpose of doing that is to provide you some key insights so that you get to know where do we stand vis-a-vis the global higher education system and what is the way forward. This is a very vast topic, but I would try to complete it within next 55 minutes so that you have ample time to ask questions relating to my talk or relating to the implications of the intents of the policy, which, as I have said, that I'm not going to reflect on that aspect. I leave it for you, to know that. I would take you back to 1948, actually. You may be aware that after World War II, the world leaders had met in the city of Paris, actually, where, we came up, the leaders came up with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was finally adopted by the United Nations on December 10, 1948. This is a document actually that acts like a global roadmap for freedom and equality, protecting the rights of every individual across the globe. This was a historic moment when all the countries agreed on the freedoms and rights that deserve universal protection of every individual to live life freely, equally, and in dignity. The declaration outlines 30 rights and freedoms. If you go through that document, you would find. And there is an article 26 in that document which mentions that everyone has the right to education. In this article, there are 4 assertions which I think we need to understand. One is that education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. The second assertion is that elementary education shall be compulsory. And the third one is that technical and professional education shall be made generally available. And the fourth, I would like to draw your attention to that fourth assertion, which says that higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. Now, you can see the difference between the earlier 3 assertions and the last assertion, which is relating to higher education. It is emphasized that higher education should be driven on the basis of merit. And which is why, you must be knowing it, that we do not talk about universalization of higher education. That is not needed. Anywhere, even in countries like Finland, Switzerland, where the gross enrollment ratio is very high as compared to that of the other parts of the world, those countries have also not talked about a universalization of higher education because it must be driven on the basis of merit, and it has got a great value. UNESCO, which is a very important UN organization that has been championing the rights to education at all levels. That is the job of, the UNESCO. It is convinced that the UNESCO is convinced that making higher education freely accessible and guaranteed for all is essential. UNESCO also believes that tuition-free public higher education is an important step in this direction. Free access to quality higher education shortly, may have significant implications on the future means of production and distribution, because it is very critical stage of education insofar as the individual's economy and the nation's economy, or you can say the global economy, is concerned. Free access to quality higher education for all appears imminent for realizing the Sustainable Development Goal number 4 by 2030. That is what is stated actually. I was going through a recent policy paper from the UNESCO, which argues that the removal of tuition fees in higher education increases the social demand for higher education and also the levels of educational attainment. Now, as an academic, you can see the implication of this conclusion of the UNESCO. If you remove the tuition fee in higher education, certainly more and more number of children can access it, and it can also improve the level of educational attainment. This statement of that report can be interpreted in a variety of ways, and I think we need to see the implication of it in our own context. How is it going to help the children coming from the marginalized sections of the society? And when your pool is going to be larger in higher education, naturally you will have greater talent. Naturally, you will be benefiting, a larger number of children. And why I'm focusing on the talent? Because many children are deprived. Many talent, large number of talent is not nurtured because they are not having access to higher education. And one thing is said about talent, which is a time-tested theory, that talent is evenly distributed in a sizable section of the society. If 100,000 children are living in slums, if 100,000 children are living in the countryside, the talent is evenly distributed even in that population. So it is the responsibility of the nation states to identify that talent and to nurture that talent, so that eventually the country could be benefited, the society could be benefited, the humanity could be benefited. I believe that the removal of tuition fees in higher education could prove to be more effective in developing economies. There is a survey actually of about 146 countries conducted by the UNESCO. And they are all the member states of the UNESCO. And this survey revealed that 41 countries out of 146 have already mandated by law to provide free higher education. We were also, providing higher education almost free for about 50 long years. So we can draw this insight from this survey that there are countries, 41 countries is 41 is not a small number, which have already mandated by law to provide free higher education. There are about 97 countries which do not offer any such guarantee for free higher education. And there are remaining 8 countries in that survey which have not provided the data because such decisions in those countries are not taken at the national governments. They are in the domain of the subnational governments, like the provincial governments. The UNESCO survey further reveals that nearly half of the member states in Central Asia, actually, Central and Eastern Europe, provide free public higher education to their people. If you look at the income group analysis of countries, that reveals that about 20% of the low income and lower middle income countries are able to mandate free higher education compared to 40% of the upper middle countries. So even if you start comparing the per capita income of our country with that of the United Kingdom, you would find that there is a humongous difference between the two economy. But see that 20% of the low income and lower middle income countries are also providing free higher education. So it makes a case, for us as well to see that we should move in that direction. In contrast, only 10% of the high-income countries had mandated free higher education. For instance, the place where I'm sitting today, this country does not provide free higher education, and this is the country which is a very affluent country, actually, the most powerful country in the world. So it is the low income and lower middle income countries that need special global attention to provide access to free higher education. And we need to understand that higher inequity in higher education would seriously impact the global development agenda. We all know that poor people have hardly any post-secondary education opportunities in countries like us. And inequalities by income level entail gaps not only in enrollment rates, but in the types of higher education institutions students attend. You see the participation rates of girls, participation rates of the minorities, participation rates of the other backward classes in institutions like IITs and IIMs and ICERs. You will find that their participation rate is abysmally lower than their counterpart. So the inequalities by income level, entails gaps not only in enrollment, but in the types of higher education institution as well. Similarly, access to higher education increased at a faster pace among different groups, actually, in the last two decades. If you see the gender equality, actually, you would find that in some countries, the participation rates of girls is higher than that of boys. And you can pick up two of our own states. For instance, if you look at the gross enrollment ratio in higher education in the state of Punjab and in the state of Tamil Nadu, you will find that girls' participation rates are higher than that of boys. But when you look at the participation rates of girls in subjects like STEM subjects, science, basic sciences, engineering, medicine, you will find that their participation rates is much lower. And similarly in medicines also. So academic and research gender indicators reveal that the senior academics and authors are less in a number from that group. Similarly, if you look at the participation rates of those who are physically challenged, we all know that there are about 1 billion people in the world having some form of disability. And persons with disability aged 25 and above who have completed higher education is half as low as those without disabilities. And this is quite prevalent in our country. I mean, because of a number of issues relating to physical accessibility, limitations in teacher training and learning material, financial restrictions, and prejudice and discrimination against persons with disability. The global data report shows that the past decade has seen a significant growth in enrollment, although millions around the world are still not having access to higher education. So is the situation in our country, actually. I mean, enrollment has increased in all groupings, but at different rates, as I have said. The worldwide gross enrollment ratio in higher education has increased from about 20% to 40% in the last two and a half decades. If you see our own gross enrollment ratio, it has touched a mark of 27.3 or 4%. There are about 235 million students enrolled in higher education across the globe. And our share in that is 41.4 million. I mean, in our country, a little over 40 million students are enrolled in the post-secondary education, which also includes certificate programs and diploma programs, which are offered after +2 stage. The biggest increase in gross enrollment ratio in the last 2 decades has been in the Eastern and Central Asia, actually. And about a third of enrollment worldwide is estimated to be in private higher education institution. I was looking at the figures. There are about 88,000 higher educational institutions which are in operation across the globe. And half of the global total higher education institutions are in Central and Southern Asia. And this was entirely due to India, actually. In our country, we have more than 54,000 higher educational institutions. Of them, we have about 1,100 degree awarding institutions under different names, institutions of national importance, central universities, state universities, institutions deemed to be universities. And apart from these degree awarding institutions, we also have about 43,000 colleges which are offering undergraduate and postgraduate programs. And in addition to these 2 sets of institutions, we also have third category of institutions, which we call standalone institutions, which are offering certificates and diploma, and that number is also around 10,000. In fact, I was seeing the numbers. We have added more than 23,000 higher educational institutions in the last 2.5 decades, accounting for about 74% of the world's growth in institutions, in institution counts. And while most of the countries are trying to widening access, we have also been making concerted efforts since independence. Because at the time of independence, we had only 22 universities and about 500 colleges. But quality continues to be a major challenge. Now, no one has been able to articulate quality in education thus far. There was a conference held in China in 2019, but the education leaders were not able to arrive at a universal definition of quality. I think we need to understand that. Quality in higher education is a multi-dimensional, multi-level, and a dynamic concept that relates to the contextual settings of an educational model, to the institutional mission and objectives, as well as to specific standards within a given system. Quality of higher education usually varies across the globe. I'm going to talk about it in my second address when I would be sharing with you the latest ranking of the higher educational institutions, which will give you an idea where do we stand in comparison to the universities of the other countries, particularly of the developed economies. If global ranking is taken as a criterion for quality, there are only a few countries that continue to dominate at the international level. But global ranking has given rise to major concern of quality assurance. Worldwide, I mean, now we have a large number of quality assurance bodies that are operating. They have developed processes to validate their own work, including by third-party assessment. There are countries wherein they have more than one or more national and multiple regional professional and subject-specific quality assurance bodies. These bodies are now laying greater emphasis on qualification frameworks. You must be familiar by now, because the University Grants Commission has already come up with the National Higher Education Qualification Framework, which represents a comprehensive policy framework defining all nationally recognized qualifications in higher education in terms of workload, in terms of levels, in terms of quality, in terms of learning outcomes and profiles. At least, I mean, there are 116 countries in the world which have a national qualification framework addressing higher education. We did not have one until very recently. I think it was only in 2023, only last year, the University Grants Commission has come up with the National Higher Education Qualification Framework. The purpose of the qualification framework is to facilitate curriculum development and design of study programs. It facilitates the students' mobility. It facilitates the recognition of periods of study and the credentials, actually. The recognition of qualifications facilitates international mobility and enables flexible learning pathways with horizontal and vertical articulations within and between countries. In fact, recent trends in higher education shows that institutions, I'm talking about the global trends, it shows that institutions are working hard to come up with flexible learning pathways policy frameworks, because each person's learning trajectory is unique. Though we had been talking about it for long, but we did not create, we did not translate it into reality. So each person's learning trajectory is unique, and that involves innumerable formal and informal learning experiences. Learning as a lifelong experience requires quality education provisions alongside flexible learning pathways. Why do we need, the question arises, why do we need flexible learning pathway policy actually? We need it because it can widen participation in higher education. It can provide better responsiveness to diverse students' needs. It can improve general level of education in a society. It also helps in career progression. And it strengthens equity in progression of studies. And lastly, it can also reduce the dropout rates. I mean, by implication, which means that it can increase the completion rates of studies. I was looking into a recent report which shows that there are about 75 countries which have put in place the policy that supports flexible learning pathways with varying degrees. They have policies like policy on national qualification framework. They also have policy on information and guidance for students. Why I'm sharing all this with you is that we need to know where do we stand and what needs to be done insofar as Indian higher education system is concerned. They also have a policy on credit accumulation and transfer systems. They have a policy on recognition and validation of prior learning, policy for lifelong learning. They have separate national policy for flexible learning pathways. And there are at least 11 types of pathways to enter into higher education across the world. I think we need to learn a great deal from them, and we need to, I'm not talking about embracing them or emulating them, but I think we need to create one of our own through which we can extend the benefits of the learning pathways to our students. In the policy, I mean, you would have seen that the international student mobility has also caught the attention of the national education policy. And we have said somewhere in the policy that each institution should develop, should create an office to handle the international students with a view to increasing the participation rates of the international students in higher educational institutions. Because unlike some of the countries which are the most sought after destinations for higher education globally, we attract a very small number of international students. We attract hardly 45 or 50,000 students, and that too only from certain parts of the globe. United States of America, Great Britain, Canada, Australia, Singapore continue to dominate insofar as the international students are concerned because of their proactive role. If you look at the financing part of higher education, though the enrollment has almost doubled, I mean, globally I'm talking about, in higher education from about 20% to a little over more than 40% now. And so is the diversity of service providers. But adequate financing has become all the more important for ensuring equality and affordability in higher education. The decreased funding from the states and the federal governments are forcing universities to look elsewhere for funding. And we have come up with the Higher Education Financing Corporation, but most of our institutions, or almost all of our institutions, or I can say that our institutions are not accustomed to do that actually. Universities are now required to collaborate with private entities and business houses to mobilize resources. Alongside, they should improve their capacity to get into consultancies. A special focus should also be made for the empowerment of the faculty so that they can develop exciting proposals and enable themselves to meet the deadlines and help institutions mobilize additional resources. But that culture is not prevailing in our institutions. Of course, in this way, I mean, we can help institutions diversify their campuses, but that is not happening. So this is a major concern insofar as our system is concerned. The another major concerns across the globe is about the diversification of campuses in terms of student population, in terms of faculty recruitment, in terms of diversification of programs. And which is why some of the countries continue to dominate because they understand the value of it. This is a very big concern from them. If you look at the parameters which are employed for global ranking, one of the parameters is about the participation of the international faculty and international students in higher education, actually. But this is a major concern in our system. We have our own limitations. We cannot hire international faculty. Now some window has been opened up. But our institutions are also plagued with the inbreeding syndrome. Institutions need to work towards breaking the barriers that inhibit proper diversification of students and faculty across disciplines. They must recognize the need to extend educational opportunities to students of all background. We learn a great deal by way of interacting with the children coming from the diverse backgrounds, actually. The another concern which is emerging is about the non-traditional students who are now coming back to the campuses. I think some universities in the Western world have created opportunities for their pass outs or for the non-traditional students. And who are these non-traditional students? Those who have crossed the age limit of 18 to 24, who have entered into the world of work, but because of the requirements of switching over from one job to another job, or because of the invasion of technological advancements, they now need to upskill and reskill themselves to prepare for the future jobs. And the number of non-traditional students is poised to keep the upward trend. We have not yet created that kind of facility. I mean, I'm not aware if some institutions have come up with specific programs for the non-traditional students, those who want to come back for a shorter duration for upskilling and reskilling themselves. So one of the implications of that is that the university should design special programs for non-traditional students. The another trend which we see that there is a race going on between education and technology. And this race will continue to accelerate in times to come. I'm sure that Professor Vimal and Professor Bakshi are going to talk about the ICT tools which are now used for the purposes of improving the contents of the different domains of knowledge in the form of 4 quadrants. They will be talking about that. I will not go into that. But the role of technology in higher education is not only in equipping students with information, but also in bridging access to quality education. And one technology that brings an outsized potential to increase creativity, curiosity, and collaboration is the artificial intelligence. Universities and colleges should leverage artificial intelligence to offload time-sensitive academic and administrative tasks, enhance enrollment, improve IT processes, and boost learning experiences for students. I think the implication of that is that universities should have a clear artificial intelligence strategy in place. Similarly, I mean, we have also started that now. Online learning is gradually becoming more prevalent all over the world. It encompasses different modes of learning, such as e-learning, flipped mode of learning, hybrid mode of learning. And this type of learning takes place in a non-traditional settings, enabling students to engage in learning regardless of the constraint of time, distance, or location. I think all of us now realize that the new generation of students are accustomed to using technology from a younger age, and thus are comfortable at home using technological tools to acquire knowledge and skills. The use of online only courses has gathered momentum in recent months, and it is poised to accelerate actually. Universities need to perfect this mode of delivery in every sense of the word. I mean, we have also come up, I mean, UGC has come up with a regulation to provide for online mode of delivery. Now the universities which qualify for that can offer 100% online program, 100% program through online mode. The another important development from which we cannot turn a blind eye is the concept of MOOCs, which is reshaping higher education due to its several benefits like unlimited enrollment, fewer requirements, and their accessibility across the globe. MOOCs are open online courses created for a large number of participants, provide free access, and can be accessed anytime, anywhere by anyone if they have an internet connection. Another interesting fact about MOOCs that they are not fixed into the traditional semester models of university. This means students can start a course at any time and can be of any length. This makes them a compelling prospects for learners who want to gain a deeper understanding of one area. Some of the universities are increasingly launching MOOCs, not only to stay ahead of the curve, but also to improve access to education. There are companies such as Coursera, edX, Udacity, FutureLearn, SHUM. They are partnering with leading institutions to solve the most pressing educational needs for modern students. Universities should take up the MOOCs in the right earnest to benefit larger sections of learners. Another change which can be seen now in higher education is about the use of virtual reality that is also coming up as another technology, and that is heralded by many as a game changer in higher education. This immersive technology is evolving now, and it increases engagement and motivation, exploratory and contextualized learning, and experiential learning opportunities that may otherwise be inaccessible. These are some of the affordances granted by the virtual reality. Using virtual reality in deep learning, primarily in science and medical fields, triggers empathic responses that give a student a perspective that has an enormous lasting impact. I think universities should embrace the virtual reality technology as it enables remote students to take part in lab exercises in an online mode, which was not available earlier. The another is that there is also a greater focus. I would like to say that greater focus is now required on closing the skill gaps. It is evidently clear that the future of work is a race between technology and education. And the fourth industrial revolution, which we talk about now, which is impelled by the rapid advances in robotics, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies, have created skill gaps across all industries. And which is why we talk about the non-traditional students. When they find themselves inadequate, when they are not able to handle the requirements of the organizations, then they have no choice but to come back to the institutions to upskill themselves. And as technology advances, education system should metamorphose, must anticipate and prepare for the impact of digital world on the workforce. And for this reason, there is an urgent need to reimagine degree programs, courses, and curricula in general to meet the needs of the modern learners while keeping pace with the evolving workforce and future trends in higher education. This is what brings competency-based education into focus, or outcome-based education. So universities ought to focus on molding future employees by imparting knowledge, skills, and competencies that are demanded in the labor markets and needed by the modern world. Now, where do we stand actually insofar as the global trends are concerned? As I had said earlier that we provided free higher education. We still provide a free higher education to some select group of persons. in some way, most centrally funded higher educational institutions are mandated to provide free education to the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and OBCs. There are several states in our country which have also mandated similar provisions for free higher education up to the postgraduate levels for girls and socially deprived sections of their domicile. They have to be the domicile of that particular state. For long, I mean, as I had said earlier, I would like to reiterate it once again that we had a policy of providing higher education either through public institutions or through grant in aid institutions. And those institutions of ours were not motivated to make profit. And thus, with the government support, those institutions were providing higher education at an affordable cost for nearly half a century since independence. The situation in our country changed since 90s as the country moved towards economic liberalization, privatization, and globalization. And this has led to slow but steady withdrawal of the state from higher education. It has led to rapid rise in high fee charging higher educational institutions. And though this process started with professional, technical, and medical education, but soon it engulfed all kinds and all types of higher education institutions. The trend now manifests in public higher education institutions where we have started these so-called self-financing programs. Cost recovery has now become a norm, then an exception. The ever-increasing cost in private as well as public institution is becoming a real barrier to accessing higher education in our country. The fact that nearly 60% of the population in our country is provided free food to survive, and that only less than 3% of the people pay income tax, affordability has become a real challenge in accessing quality higher education. Most of our, if I try to link the present situation with the global ranking and make an attempt to draw some lesson out of it, I was surprised when I found that some of our premier institutions have gone down in the global ranking. And one of the reasons, I mean, there could be multiple reasons for that. I can identify at least 6 or 7 such reasons, but of them, one reason that came to my mind immediately after seeing the slipping of those premier institutions in QS ranking and in higher education ranking is that the constraint of resources actually could be one major reason. And I think as a nation state, we should be very much concerned about it. Instead of moving up on that ladder, if our institutions are slipping and going down, that must be a major concern. And we should think about ways and means to support these institutions. Otherwise, there is no point in lamenting that our institutions are not figuring in the top 100 or in the top 200, things like that. So we all know that higher education landscape is rapidly changing, and the sector is being hit from all sides by social, curriculum, technological, and financial changes. And institutions which want to maintain an edge over others must be prepared to adapt to these emerging trends in higher education. Universities should heavily invest in research. It is easier said than done, but where are the resources actually? We talk about technology, but how are we empowering our students and teachers? If you provide laptops to the students, it becomes a I do not want to go into that, and I do not want to compare ourselves with the other countries. There are countries wherein the laptop is such an important learning tool that it is provided to the kindergarten children in some countries. I mean, the personal laptop, the first thing the schools provide to the children as soon as they get admitted is the laptop, because that has become a very important tool. Um, I, I think we need to understand that as technology aside, I mean, there are many more things which need to be strengthened in our system. So it means that we'll have to work hard to give futuristic orientation to our higher education system. There are clear cut, I mean, from this discussion, uh, there are clear cut trends which are emerging in higher education. One is about the diversity in higher education in terms of students and faculty. More and more number of children are now coming to our campuses from the marginalized section, from the uh, marginalized sections of the society. The another trend is about the non-traditional students. Important trend which is emerging is about embracing the artificial intelligence for learning, online learning, virtual reality for education, rise of MOOCs, and the growing needs for alternate funding options, actually. It is quite obvious that higher education globally has undergone significant shifts in recent years. And we cannot ignore it. Higher education has been primarily influenced by a series of economic and social factors. Challenges include, I mean, enrollment, rising costs, reduced revenues alongside with increased inflation. Another challenge is the scarcity of qualified and competent faculties. Universities do not have the capacity to provide competitive packages to talented workforce, and consequently they lose out talented workforce to other organizations. Though there are some people who say that the pay package of a faculty in an academic institution is very, very attractive now. But if you look the IT professionals, we stand nowhere actually. And one can also see fluctuating trends in enrollment due to inverse relationship between enrollment and economic performance. Higher education, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be a priority agenda in our country. It is differentiated with public and private institutions with vastly differing resources and serving different needs. This is true within the country and across the borders. There are little chances of increased public allocation to higher education. We have been witnessing it for quite some time. But one thing we should know that poorly funded institutions which are surviving only on internal recoveries are going to suffer the most in every aspect. Which is why I was talking about the standing of Indian universities in the QS ranking 2024 or THE ranking of 2024 actually. Universities with unstable income streams will continue to suffer, and most institutions will push for market-oriented courses. I was telling you that none of the Indian institutions has figured in the first 148 QS ranking of 2024. It is only the IIT Bombay, which is at 149th rank. IIT Delhi is at 197. Some of the private institutions which are boasting, they stand nowhere actually in the first 500. Student safety and well-being is becoming more important push and pull factor in decision making to students. And in this ever-changing job market scenario, colleges and universities will be facing the crucial task of enhancing the alignment between education and training to meet the evolving demands of both employers and students. And this change is not going to be uniform or steady, mind you. There might be some areas in higher education that are going to grow, while others might shrink, and that will also be a setback to higher education system. If we are going to undermine the value of languages, humanities, and social sciences, and continue to overrate the market-oriented programs, we will become a very weak society. And therefore, the responsibility lies on the higher education leaders. They need to envision and stay in front of these anticipated shifts. The key lies in continuous adaptation and evolution of educational offerings. It would require a dynamic approach in this ever-evolving economic landscape. There may be some professions which might show a surge in job demand. If we do not anticipate such high opportunity programs and prepare workforce for them, the gap may be filled temporarily by underqualified individuals, as it happens during the initial period of ICT innovation. And we need to understand what are those high opportunity programs. They may be in the sector of healthcare. They may be in the sector of community and social services, behavioral sciences, international businesses, law enforcement agencies, cybersecurity, sales and related services, and software, etc. The healthcare and social assistance sectors are poised for the most rapid growth. Such workforce would be required in large number in places where older population is increasing, and it is increasing almost everywhere. And there was a recent report which I saw only day before yesterday, which reveals that the life expectancy has increased by about 7 years globally. Similarly, computer and mathematical occupations are projected to experience significantly above average growth because of artificial intelligence and automation. There is already a huge crisis of identity in higher education. Higher education leaders seeking to maintain and grow enrollment in the current landscape must be prepared to communicate the value of higher education in general, as well as the value proposition of their brand and programs outcomes. Universities and colleges that best communicate their brand value and create student-centered are most likely to maintain and grow enrollment. Institutions will have to accord topmost priority to such programs which can serve the non-traditional students as well. So in this context, they must step up to serve the needs of all kinds of students. It means, I will close by saying that the current trends highlight the need for a reimagined approach to funding, student support, and operational management. It is evident that globally the challenges facing higher education are multifaceted and interconnected. It requires a reimagined approach to funding, giving futuristic orientation to programs, and maximization of the use of technology. It means making use of diversified means for mobilizing resources, embracing technology, enhancing student support services, strengthening industry partnership, and improving operational efficiency. And all this, I believe, must be done from micro level to macro level. That is all I wanted to share with you in this address. So I stop now and I revert back to Professor Bimal. If you have questions, I will like to answer to your questions now.
Thank you so
So
much,
over
sir.
to you, Professor.
Yeah.
Over to you, Professor Bimal.
And very nicely, you have given us the global perspective as well, and mentioned in terms of rankings also, where we need to improve a lot. And I think
Yeah.
this NEP 2020 has really given us a way where we can introspect ourselves from individual teachers' point of view as well as institution point of view, that where all we need to improve upon, so that our students can be developed as per the global requirements and the changing scenario of job that they have facing, sir. So thank you so much. And any question, please, you can unmute and ask. Who is there, Ankit or Shrutika? Make a provision of unmuting all so that they can ask question by muting. And you can mention your comments also meanwhile. I think, sir, one question is coming from Regimon. Sir, what are the challenges faced by Indian private university? How can they improve these limitations? So the focus of
See,
yeah.
the biggest challenge before the private higher educational institution in our country is twofold, actually. On the one hand, they have to make higher education available at an affordable cost, which means subsidizing higher education to a large extent. And on the other hand, there is a challenge that when the cost of higher education is increasing in leaps and bounds, then where are they going to mobilize their resources from? That is a big challenge. The government is not supporting the private higher educational institutions, so they have to survive on their own. So they and if they wish to increase the enrollment, and if they wish to attract the talented students with a view to improving the quality, with a view to improving their brand, then they will have to provide these scholarships. So the biggest challenge before them is to mobilize the resources. Now, such resources can be mobilized on the strength of the members of the faculty. If the faculty collaborates with the business houses, if the faculties are able to solicit projects, if the faculty is competent enough to identify the problems of the industry, and if they are capable of providing them the solutions in a time-bound manner, then they can mobilize the additional resources. So the biggest challenge for them is twofold: providing higher education at an affordable cost so that they can fulfill the needs of the diverse group of student population. And the another is about the mobilization of resources. These are the two big challenges. So they will have to come up with the innovative models through which, I mean, they can take care of these two aspects.
Thank you.
They are facing a very difficult time, actually. There's no doubt about it. See, and we should not forget one thing, Professor Vimal, here. I think we need to learn something from the past. Higher education in our country in the past has come through private initiative, actually. Quality higher education, I would say. Be it through Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, which was established by Jamshedji Tata in 1909, or be it Vishwa Bharati, which was established by Thakur Rabindranath Tagore in Bolpur, or be it Banaras Hindu University,
Always.
set up by Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji, or be it Aligarh Muslim University, set up by Sir Syed Khan. The quality higher education has come through private initiative. But those institutions were supported by the society. Those institutions were supported by the society in a big way. For instance, I'll give you the example when Jamsetji Tata approached the then British government and asked for some land in the city of Bangalore for the purposes of establishing Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. They laughed at him, actually. Jamsetji Tata said that I would like to set up a top-class institute in the city of Bangalore, because when we get independence, we would need scientists, we would need engineers, we would need professionals. And for that, I want to set up. So please provide me land free of charge. They laughed at him. And then who came to his rescue? The Maharaja of Mysore, who provided 450 acres of land free of charge. Similarly, the land, a campus of about 1,700 acres was provided by to Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya ji free of charge by the Raja. So the society will have to come forward, and the government will also, I think, revisit its policy of not financing the private higher educational institution. And the first and the foremost requirement would be that the higher education should be the priority agenda, not only for the central government, but also for the provincial governments, which is not happening, and which is why the quality is going down. And which is why I was referring to you that I was so shocked to see that our premier institutions have gone down in the global ranking. And as I had said earlier, I would like to reiterate it once again, that the first thought that came to my mind is that they are hard pressed for resources.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. There's one more question.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, you are. Yeah, I can.
Sir, I have 2-3 questions. Actually, the first one, that you have concluded your remarks or your slide or your presentation, that with the words that we should reimagine, we should adopt reimagined approach for higher education.
Yes.
I want to know whether your reimagined approach do align with NEP 2020? Yes or no? Then the second question is, sir, that you have discussed about non-traditional students, meaning thereby multiple entry and multiple exit, So given the fact that all the students who join higher education do not come with the only purpose of getting education, right? There may be some other purpose, because Delhi is not India, because India is quite diverse. There may be some other reasons. So what do you think that would be the negatives of this multiple entry and exit level exit system at societal level, sir? And my third question, that we are on the verge of adopting NEP 2020. What I think the prerequisites or the assumptions for NEP 2020 should be the teacher-taught ratio. Because, sir, I am giving my personal question, that I have to take 5 lectures in a day. And given that load of lectures and multiplicity of other works in educational institution, is it possible to justify for me to do my job, given the fact that you have told that students have different learning capabilities and abilities and skills? And what do you think that role of the teacher would be in that environment, sir? Thank you, sir.
You have raised multiple question issues actually, and they are very pertinent. I respect your expressions actually. These are very pertinent issues. I quite agree with you that Delhi is not India. Delhi is not Chennai. Delhi is not Bangalore. And and we have the duty towards the children in each and every part of the country who are accessing higher education. I would like to take you back to the Universal Declaration actually of 1948 from where I had started. I made 4 assertions commencing from the elementary education, that it should be made available to all and it should be made available free of charge, and professional and technical education should be made generally available. And then about higher education, I had used the word merit. Do you remember that? Higher education should be made accessible to all on the basis of merit. Isn't it? Are you able to recall that? So
Yes, sir.
So when we are talking about merit, then I'm talking about those. You have said that children come to access higher education for a variety of purposes, for various considerations. That is what you have said.
Of course, yes, sir. All the students who join the
I
colleges,
agree.
they are not
I
with the
agree.
sole purpose of educating. The majority
Uh-huh.
of them, they do come to college for education, but
Uh-huh.
not all.
Yeah. Now the question is about the quality, and the another question is about this multiple exit and multiple entry, and the implications of the provisions that we have thought of in our national education policy that we have expressed in the form of the intents. That is what you meant. The multiple exit and multiple entry is the beginning of creating a flexible learning pathway. I have talked to you that there are about 11 flexible learning pathways available across the world. I think we need to create a flexible learning pathway. There's no doubt about it. It will have its own implications. I'll give you the example. For instance, if you are a private institution and if you have recruited 40 students in the first year of the program, and if 20 of them leave, in the first year, you will have to ensure the teacher-student ratio depending upon the nature of the discipline. And if 20 students leave out after 1 year with a certificate program, and another 10 students leave out after a 2-year diploma program, you are left only with 10 students in the third year. And if 5 of them leave after third year, you are left only with 5 students in the fourth year. How are you going to make it a reality? How will you support the institution in terms of internal recovery? That will be a big challenge for us. So it has huge limitations actually, particularly for those institutions which are not getting funding from the state government or from the central government. This will be a very big challenge. I think we will have to come up with measures, which is why I said that we should not make a distinction between a private institution and a public institution insofar as higher education is concerned. We need to come up with measures through which we can support the private higher educational institutions. Otherwise, they will not be able to survive. This is one answer. And the second one is that what was the second critical question that you raised? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have I answered to your question to some extent?
Of course, yes, sir. If you could share your mail, etc., then or contact number, then I can discuss with you, sir.
I will
If you have
request Professor Bimal. I'll request Professor Bimal to give you my email address. I mean, you have raised very pertinent questions actually. But it happens in every single policy that what we envision, what we express. What is policy actually? Policy is a statement of intent. Okay, we express our intents through the policy, and in policy, many a time what we do is that we pick up things from the other settings, which is not fitting into our own setting, and which is why the contextualization of education is of paramount significance. So, with a view to creating flexible learning pathways, we have come up with the policy of multiple exit and multiple entry. But then they have huge implications. And in order to face those implications, in order to provide a healthy response to them, we will have to come up with several measures. Of them, one measure would be to provide financial assistance to the institutions. This is one. The second is that in policy, I mean, if you are not going to ensure appropriate teacher-pupil ratio, then you would not be able to provide differential treatments to the children that is required. I mean, there are, in a heterogeneous class, you have some dynamic learners, you have some common sense learners, you have some analytic learners, you have some learners who are not very proficient in language, and you cannot turn a blind eye from any one of them. Your responsibility is to make sure that everyone learns and learns at his or her own pace, and for which you will have to have the capacity of providing differential treatments to these different groups of learners. And if you are going to have teacher-pupil ratio of 1:60, it will not be possible in that setting. And therefore, you will have to come up with other alternative. Okay, so these are the things that we will have to ensure. These are the problems which every single institution of ours is facing actually. Professor Vimal keeps screaming all the time that she has a large number of students. And in disciplines like basic sciences, where the students require personal attention, unless we ensure that, we will not be able to do justice. We will not be able to empower the children the way they ought to be empowered actually. So the multiple exit and multiple entry is going to raise multiple problems, but gradually we will have to address those problems, those issues. And one such issue is about the alternate funding to the institutions which are which would be hard pressed for this, and the another is the teacher pupil ratio. I mean, there is a point when you say that in humanities and social sciences you can have teacher pupil ratio a little higher than the teacher pupil ratio which is required in exact sciences. So that we will have to ensure, and which requires, I mean, enormous amount of support from the state government or from the central government. And which is why I am of the opinion that the time has come when we should not keep beating the drum of 6% of the GDP funding to education. That recommendation was made by Kothari Commission in 1966 when the shape and size of education in our country was much smaller than what it is today. And therefore, what is required is that the government must set up a committee to ascertain the quantum of resources required under the present circumstances and provide those kinds of resources. Otherwise, what would happen that in 30 years from hence or 20 years from hence, when we would come up with another national education policy, we would again be reiterating the same recommendations. That is what we have been doing in certain cases since 1949, when we brought out the first report on higher education through the University Education Commission, which was chaired by Dr. Radhakrishnan. And I'm of the opinion that, and I have said it through my writings also, that reiteration of recommendations or endorsement of recommendations should not be the goal of formulating the policy, actually. We should provide those kinds of resources. Otherwise, we will not be able to do that. And now you have, for instance, let me also expand it a little further. For instance, we have granted permission to several universities to offer online programs on 100% basis, simply because they have been accredited by NAC with the 3.26 CGPA. But have they created sufficient infrastructure for the purposes? Have they given adequate orientation to their teachers to develop the e-courseware? Have they ensured, are they going to ensure that the students who would be enrolled will have access to all the kinds of smart devices which is required to access online education? I mean, their responsibility is not only to make the teaching learning material available in electronic medium. Their responsibility is also to make sure that all those who are enrolled there, they have access to those smart devices. They have access to broadband connectivity. They have access to all kinds of gadgets, actually. So these are the issues which will keep coming. And we will have to find ways and means. Of course, some institutions might do that. Of course, some students might do that. But if everyone doesn't do that, then we will again be compromising the quality of education. And like now, as it is, I mean, we have introduced this open and distance learning mode of delivery in 60s, actually. But until this day, we have not been able to restore the credibility of those programs to the level of the offline mode of teaching and learning. And a similar situation will arise when we would be resorting to the third mode of delivery, that is the online mode of delivery. I mean, the market forces will look at these three kinds of products from a different perspectives. Why should they do that? And therefore, the responsibility lies on us as regulators, as government, as the leaders of educational institutions, that whether you graduate through online mode of delivery, or you graduate through ODL mode of delivery, or you graduate through the conventional mode of teaching and learning, I mean, we must ensure the parity of academic standards, and for which there are very many things which would be required. I mean, one of the means could be that you should come up with subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes, through which you can narrow down the gaps which exist insofar as academic attainments is concerned. I would request Professor Vimal to organize one talk on subject-specific benchmarking of learning outcomes. How can it be done, and how can it narrow down the differences that exist across the institutions within the same university?
Sure,
So,
sir.
I mean, we will have to resort to various means to address the concerns that we have before us.
And so today we are just short of time, and maybe we'll take more questions in the coming sessions with you. And thank you so much, sir, for your this insight. And I know this.
But I must appreciate Vimal, this boy actually, who has raised these questions. They are very pertinent questions which need special attention. Otherwise, we will be playing with the lives of the children, and we will be churning out children with no skills. He has raised very pertinent
There
questions.
are so many challenges, especially this teacher-student ratio,
Yeah.
and the students who are like
I
diverse
would get an idea actually. I think I would request every single participant to identify the implications of the policy intents. You can find a role for yourself insofar as the implementation of the national education policy is concerned. Like this boy has raised these 3-4 questions. What would be the implications of these intents in a particular setting? I mean, what happens, the problem with us is that when we start averaging things, then we get a different picture altogether. If I say that the gross enrollment ratio in higher education is 27.4% in India, it doesn't tell me specifically anything about the gross enrollment ratio of the children from the marginalized sections of the society. So I'll have to go a little deeper into it. It doesn't tell me about the quality actually. So we lose the sight and the grip of the problem when we start aggregating things. So multiple exit and multiple entry policy in X institution could throw up different challenges than Y institution. So what are going to be the implications of these kinds of recommendations in our own settings? We can come up with a piece of paper wherever we are working. How is it going to impact your institution, and what would be the way forward? So each one of us can come up with a critical article on that. And there are about 21 such vital recommendations or 21 such intents that we have expressed through our national education policy on different aspects of higher education, right from the curricular provisions to the assessment of teaching and learning. So we can do that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right.
Yeah, and so today I think we'll close because it's already late because we were slightly.
Please, I mean, share my
Yeah.
email ID with
I have
this
shared
boy,
already.
with
Yeah.
everyone actually,
Yes,
with
yes,
everyone.
definitely, sir. So we will have the privilege of listening to you in 2 more sessions also for this batch. And regularly we keep looking for your guidance, sir. And I think subject-specific benchmarking you mentioned, there needs to be hands-on workshop also, like we experimented at some places. So that can be taken into a massive program rather. So we'll look for how that can be really implemented. So thank you
And
so
I
much.
have in fact reflected on these aspects in greater detail in my book, which I brought out in after the which is on, in fact, national education
I will
policy.
share that.
I'm not selling my book, but I mean, I'm just giving you the reference. I'm not doing any publicity for that, but I have picked up different aspects of higher education, and I have shared my reflections on each one of them in that book. I mean, if you can see that may be of some value to you insofar as some of these pertinent concerns are there matter. Okay.
Right, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Tomorrow we are not going to have any session because of Ram Navami, and we had mentioned that in our poster also. So now the next session we are going to have will be on 18th April at 5 p.m. So that's what we are looking forward for your vote. And if there are any problems you have faced regarding the Zoom link or other clarity, please, there is a portion in the feedback link where you can mention. My team will go through that, and whatever solution can be found, it will be definitely done. So with these words, today we close the day 1 of live sessions in this NEP orientation and sensitization program. And thank you, sir, once again. I thank both Professor Bakshi sir and Professor Ved Prakash sir for delivering higher education in society and giving us a entire overview on this NEP 2020 and also comparing with the global perspective and what we have to be looking from our country's requirement at the global level, but then what at minute level as teachers, as institutions, we have to be really looking at the local challenges that we are having, and the same solution cannot be implemented, but then we have to be looking into how we can work out to have different solutions in a very positive way. And with these words, we are closing for the day, and have good dinner with your family or friends wherever you are. Keep smiling and enjoy your day tomorrow. We will be meeting on 18th April, 5 p.m. Thank you so much. Namaskar. Okay. Hope you have all filled up the both feedback links. My team has again shared them right now. So please do, the links will not be shared in the WhatsApp group, and please do not forward them also. Fine. So thank you so much, and goodbye and good evening.